Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, welcome. It is the Sunday. It is the Warhammer Sunday. Hey everyone, welcome along. Hope you're all safe and well and having good times, all locked down. Yes, deep joy. Yes, welcome everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It's my regular Sunday Warhammer show. If you've not seen one of these before, basically I sit here for 3 hours and do very little work because I'm just hanging out with you guys. If you are new to the show, that's kind of what actually happens. I just sit here and talk to you guys and hang out and chat. And maybe do some work on my Warhammer Conquest backlog, which I'm just getting built up before I paint it. This is one of my typical shows, so basically we've got the chat up. If you're watching this, and the whole point of this is really for you just to have a place to hang out in chat while all your mates are in chat, and I'm just on in the background waffling away. You can kind of ignore me if you want. I don't really have a lot to contribute apart from the background audio wallpaper. But yes, do come and join the chat if you're watching this. You can see there is live chat there, but that's not the typey chat. You want to join in the typey bit, click on the little YouTube icon that's in the bottom right hand corner of the video player, somewhere down there, somewhere here. Where's the camera? Somewhere down here somewhere. Click on that and it'll take you to the YouTube page where you can join in the live chat. And you really want to join the live chat because that's where all the fun is. If you're in the live chat, as always, I've got the chat in front of me on the iPad. So if you want to get my attention, because I'm desperate for things to talk about, do talk to me in the chat. Put your comment in big fat capital letters if you want to, then I'll have a chance to see it. Or if you really want to, you can do a super chat. You can press the dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. That'll put your comment in a coloured box and put a little animation up here in the corner as well. And then I've got no way to miss your comment. Then I'll absolutely see it. Plus it helps me, it gives me a little bit of income as well. So feel free to do a super chat. But other than that, just put it in capitals. I'll go through the chat anyway and I'll see most things, so it's not a big problem. But welcome. Before we get going, a big massive shout out to all my patrons. I've actually picked up 3 new patrons in the last day, so massive thanks to all my patrons and my newbies. Welcome. Big support, big thank you very much. Without them, this channel wouldn't exist and I'd be working in an office somewhere. So massive thanks to all my patrons. And of course, big thank you to Goblin Gaming who support this show. Hello, we've got, what was that? That was David Sanderson tipped 5. Thank you very much for that, David. David's put a tip in the tip jar. I'll explain that in a minute. You've helped take some of George's health off. But yes, well, Goblin Gaming, if you're looking to pick up some good Warhammer stuff or other tabletop gaming based stuff, doesn't have to be Warhammer. They do 20% off Games Workshop, Malifaux and Conflict 47 and massive savings on everything else. There is a link in the description below this video. Please use that link. Don't just go to their website. You can if you want to, but if you use the link that's in the description below, that's my affiliate link. It tells them I sent you and it generates a bit of income for me. It doesn't cost you anything. And last of all, of course, emodels.co.uk, again, link in the description below. My channel sponsors, all of those 3 make this entire channel possible. So massive thanks to all of those, and big thanks to all of you guys who are with me today and we'll be watching. Let's have a quick look at the chat. As always, you can see we've got the Streamlab. They've got the tip jar, the stream boss battle going on. I've moved the address there now so you can see it. The stream boss battle. That is basically just a way for you guys to build. Hello, we've got another one. What's this one? Down with the follower of Corpse Emperor followers said. Oh, it's got off the top of my screen. Mordraka, there we go. Mordraka donated a 5. Thank you very much, Mordraka. That was that was a tip as well, wasn't it? I think, were they tips? Yes, they were. Yes, they're putting tips through. Stream Boss Battle, it's a way to build up a pot of cash just for you guys. I don't make any money on that. And basically, every time you put a tip through, it takes some of the current Stream Boss George's health off. If your tip gets him to 0 health, you win all the money in the pot that you can then spend at Games Workshop, Forge World or Goblin Gaming. And when George became Stream Boss, he got 500 quid, just shy of. So it's worth joining in with the Stream Boss Battle. Takes a long time, it's not a slow process, but it builds up and it's your money, not mine. Let's have a quick look at chat. Thank you to you two, though, for putting tips through, helping taking some of George's health off. Now, the first comment I have here is not the very first comment, because that was a while ago. But first comment I have is from Eric Graham, so welcome, Eric. And then Dad. Dad is one of your mods. My moderators are lovely, fluffy, squishy. They're like Tribbles, but they don't breed, thankfully. They're like Tribbles. They're adorable and cute, and they make little noises that are really quite sweet, and they'll keep you safe and they'll keep you protected. But if you cross them, they'll drop you in acid and watch you dissolve slowly whilst grinning like the Joker. So yeah, don't cross my mods. So Dad is in. Mordraka09, as we know, he just put a tip through, is in. Welcome to you 3. We have David Sanderson. Hi everyone, hope you're all well. We have Lewis Williamson. Hello all. We have David Sanderson again, Mordraka, Eric Graham, hi Quano, so Quanaman's in, Quanaman there, yep, hi all he says. We have Raging, my chat just jumped, hang on. Something just jumped. Where is that gone? Oh, I missed something now. Quantum Man, I said that. David Sanderson, yes, we've done that one. Something has come through. Oh, Father dearest, I just put a super chat through. Massive thank you, Dad. That's really, really kind of you. You're lovely. You really are lovely. Thank you very much, Dad. That'll be a massive help for me. Massive help. Thank you very much. That'll pay for some toilet roll. No, we're all right for toilet roll. But big thank you to you, Dad. That will really come in handy. Let's have a look. What have we got? Dad's awesome. Something else. I've got lots of pings today. Edward Leonard, super chatted $3. Thank you very much, Edward. That's also very kind of you. You're very, very sweet. That will also be very, very helpful. Massive thank you to both of you. You guys are awesome. Right, what was I up to? I was up to in the chat, wasn't I? So thank you to both of you too. I may miss some of you out because I've completely lost track now. Raging Bassist came in. That's where I was up to. Welcome, Raging Bassist. Excuse me. I'm trying to keep up with the chat here. My brain's just completely stopped. David Sanderson saying he's not working now because of the chocolate velociraptor. As always, folks, if you didn't see it in chat earlier on, YouTube are demonetizing streams that discuss certain obvious topics, words that begin with C, V, and P. And that topic. Now, we can discuss it, we just don't need to use all the relevant words, please, because it makes it really obvious. So that's why I keep saying chocolate velociraptor 19. So David's saying that he's had to leave work now. Of course, he'll get some subsidy from the government, so he'll get a bit of most of his wage, but not brilliant. Hope you're okay, David. Stay strong, buddy. Let's have a look. He says he works at HMV, and believe me, 3 months away from there would be bliss. Yeah, 3 months away from HMV at 80% pay. I'd buy that for $1. I wouldn't kick that. Excuse me, I wouldn't kick that out of bed, if you know what I mean. Let's have a look. Trying to catch up with the chat. Gross Models, Chris at Gross Models, another one of your mods. He is in. Sorry for the dead air there. I'm a bit at 6s and 7s today. And actually thrown by all these super chats and things coming. It's really sweet of you. I'm really kind of thrown a little bit. We have Andy McLeish, iHumans. We have William Rayborn. Welcome, William. Welcome. We have... Who else have we got? Gemma Williams is in. Gemma's in. Ooh, Chris, behave. Everybody look after Gemma and get Chris in trouble. First person to get Chris in trouble gets 10 XP. We have... What else have we got in? James Lorimore is in. Welcome, James. Not seen you for a little bit. It's nice to have you back. Beyond Hope is in. Welcome, Beyond Hope. Beyond Hope saying he had to pop into town tomorrow, and I was about to tell him off for going into town, but he says he's got to go in to get some final bits of plastic paint and toy cars, and he's also going to learn to play Gaslands, but he's got to get some bits from Goblin and then some bits from Poundland. So just take it safe, Beyond Hope. Try and go as late or as early as you can to avoid the crowds. Stick a mask on anyway. I know they don't really do much, but stick a mask on anyway. Take some gloves. Wear gloves when you're handling stuff in the shop. Just wear disposable gloves because you don't know who's handled what. And then when you get home, just shower in acid, obviously. Shower in bleach. Just be careful. Avoid people if you can. Stephen Werner, hello folks. Hope everything's okay. Greetings from Germany. Guten Abend, Stephen. Welcome.
Pika pika.
We have Death to the False Emperor, says Raging Bassist, who pops through £3 tip. Thank you very much. George is getting some stick this last few days, isn't he? On his health bar. It's going. You can see it going down a bit there. Oh yeah. Like I say, with that stream boss battle, I don't get any of that. That goes straight into the tip jar. The tip jar at the moment, I think, is about 50 quid. I think. Like I say, when George became stream boss, he got 488 quid. So it will take a while to get him down to health. It always goes a bit slow till it gets to about here, and then it kind of goes like that. Yeah, so I'm not going to lecture anybody. I know sometimes you might have to go out, but just be careful. He stuck the landing, says Eric Graham. Yes, I didn't press any buttons wrong. Paul at Team Inept is in. Welcome, Paul. I'm not playing Skyrim, so you can't push me off or anything or shout at me. Hey, I'm here too, says Chris at Gross Models. I know I hadn't got to you on the chat at that point. Raging Basis says, don't worry, Fox, I always get you some monies by Goblins link. Thank you very much. Yes, if you use my Goblin link, the one in the description below, I get a little bit of income from that. And I know for one that Cy Reynolds has just put a big order through, so that will help me out massively. Beyond Hope says, if anyone is interested, Amazon are currently selling some of the Warhammer books on Kindle for £1.99 for a limited time. I picked up the first Go Trek omnibus yesterday. Ooh, go and check it out. If you've got a Kindle or an e-reader and you can get the books, Amazon, go for it. Is George here, says David. I've not seen him in chat. Maybe he'll come in later on. Lewis says, it's my wife's birthday on Wednesday. With everything going on, I don't have to treat her this year. Oh, you're in trouble now. I've just read that out before even... I didn't check that before I read it, and now that's gone out of your telly speakers. You're in trouble now. Sorry. You still need to treat your loved ones, even though you can't go anywhere. Here's my story. This morning, today is Mother's Day in the UK. Now, if you are, if you love your mum, and you normally pop round or you get her a present or some flowers or stuff. Now, right now, if that's what you normally do, don't. Don't go and see your mum. Sounds horrible, but don't go and see your mum. If like me, Mama Fox, she's an older lady, she's at risk. If I wasn't living here, I wouldn't go and see her. Go, speak to your mum over the interwebs on video conference or some other way over the phone. Don't go and see her, because if you pick something up and you give it to her, yeah, you know what I mean? It's not good. But this morning, it's Mother's Day, and of course, I've had no chance to go and get anything for Mother's Day. I'm a bit skint anyway. So this morning, what I did was we had a long, tall coffee cup. It's about this tall. We never used it. It's like a long, tall coffee cup. I couldn't find any vases, so I did this long, tall coffee cup. I went into the garden and I picked a little bunch of daffodils, because we've got a big patch of daffodils in the garden. So I picked a big bunch of daffodils. I put them in some water with some sugar, and I made a little card out of a post-it note, because I haven't got anything. A little card out of a post-it note that I drew a picture on of sunflowers and stuff. And then I gave that to her this morning. She was dead chuffed. So you don't have to, you can still make it special for your mum on Mother's Day without, going anywhere. But if you normally go and see your mum, be kind to her by not going to see her. Call her or Skype her or something else, FaceTime her, something else. Don't go and see your mum, because that would be just badness. Dad asks, the Team Inept says, oh fine, ignore the big order I put through with Goblin. I get it. Kevin's your favourite. Oh, I didn't know you had put it through. Yeah, I thought you were going to. But thank you, Paul. Paul's Team Inept also put a massive order through at Goblin. Thanks, Mum. Dad asks the most important question: what's on your bench and what's in your belly? There we go. Quanoman puts a super chat through. Thank you very much, Quanoman. He says, Chris used telepathy to force me to say spiders. And I have to read it out because he spent money on me, so I can't not read it. Sorry, Gemma. Yes, Chris used telepathy. It's super effective. Yes, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul, for your order. Yes, Dad asked the question, what's on your bench and what's in your belly? What are you working on right now? And it doesn't have to be a model. It can be anything. It can be a picture or a drawing. And what's in your belly? What are you going to have for your tea? What have you had for your tea this evening? People are already answering. Scale model Muse. You see, Lewis is getting told off now because Muse says, Lewis, you can cook a dinner and clean the kitchen. See, you don't have to go out to do that. I wish I'd read it before I actually read it out, because now I've got you in trouble. But then again, you've put that in chat voluntarily, and my chat is not all men. You're going to get told off, as you have done. Beyond Hope says, bench nothing, belly nothing yet. Scale model Muse says, dinner, heck if I can type. No. Paul Di Tommaso, belly nothing yet, bench a variety of projects. You missed an O. James hasn't decided what to put on his bench, but in his belly he's got coffee cakes, donuts and liquid coffee. Oh yeah, coffee cake donuts. Paul Timonette, you could have made a Mother's Day card for her out of stockpiled macaroni. It's actually conchigle, not macaroni, and I can't really make much out of pasta shells. Also, I want to eat them. So there you go. Lewis, then again, I think Lewis has now realised he wrote something out that I read out, because he's put, she is the best wife ever, though. She has let me put a deposit down for the 1/200 scale Titanic and the 1/32 scale HK Lancaster. Yeah, she's definitely a keeper, so nice one, Nat. We'll pretend I didn't read out that comment earlier on, eh? If you heard it, then just slap him a little bit, but still let him get the Titanic. See, I'm working for you, Lewis. I'm working for you. Eric Graham, belly, Oreo cereal and coffee, bench, HO scale scenery diorama. Oh, it's jumped. Scale model mused. We've partly done 55 Ford truck. Belly this coffee. Points at cup. Not this coffee that I'm pointing at. Now, before we get going, I'm going to keep going through the chat in a second. Before we get going, if you've not seen any of my other streams this week, given the Chocolate Velociraptor 19 pandemonium at the moment, worldwide pandemonium, I'm very clever. I have said that I'm going to be doing a lot more streaming over the coming weeks and months. I've still got lots of big projects to do, and it might be like 1 or 2 streams a week, but I'm going to be doing as many more extra streams as I can. What that means is, throughout streams like this, like Warhammer Sunday and Skyrim Saturday and stuff like that, the whole point of me doing all these extra streams is to give you guys who are stuck at home isolating yourselves, because some of you are like just isolating for 14 days. In the future, we might be on a permanent lockdown, who knows? But there is some of you out there like me who are permanently in a self-isolation, because I've got, Mama Fox who I need to look after, and she's at risk, so I can't afford to go out to the shops or anywhere and come back and potentially give her the chocolate Velociraptor if I happen to pick it up or just get it on me. So I am permanently isolated now for the duration. It could be months. So I'm acutely aware that a lot of you are in that situation. Some of you are, you're at risk. Some of you are just with someone or sharing with someone who's at risk and you can't afford any risks. So the focus of these streams is going to be community, not really what I'm doing here. Nobody gives a crap what I'm actually doing on this workbench. It's not important. It doesn't really matter. The whole point of these streams I'm going to be doing is more giving you a chat that you can hang out with your friends in, and I hope over time we'll get more and more people in the chat, which is why I'm going to be more aggressive about saying get in. If you're watching this and you can see the chat there, get in the chat, because this is the whole point. I want it to be a place you guys can hang out and have fun and just be a bit silly and take the mickey out of me while I'm not doing any work. It doesn't really matter what I'm going to be doing. It's a way for you guys to have somewhere to hang out and have a little community to play with. I know we've got the Model Makers Boom Hut, and that's not real time. This is real time interaction. If I was able to, I'd do little hangout things where people can join in, like Chris does his, evening with everyone. But I can't really do that, in any ever good way. So this is my way to give you a place to hang out. Now, Sunday's a great day because obviously between 12:30 and 2:30, Colin and Dave do their Sunday brunch, Buddy Builders little hangout thing, the two of them. So you've got the chat there. Now you've got me till 6 o'clock, and then at 8 o'clock tonight you've got Chris doing his Warhammer Sunday. So Sunday's the best day because you've got all three or four of us doing our little hangout. So most of the day, apart from dinner time and lunchtime, you've sorted. But I just wanted to say, these hangouts I'm going to be doing, they might just be me carrying on with this at the bench, but it's not really important what I'm doing. And for a lot of them, I might not do a lot of work. I might spend my entire 3 hours just talking to you guys in chat, because my focus is not for you to listen to me. I just happen to be here, but to facilitate a place for you guys to hang out and do real-time chat. Because not all of you have Discord. I do have a Discord, but not all of you have Discord and real-time chat. I can interact with you, because at the end of the day, it's not just about you having a place to chat, it's about me having people to talk to. Because remember, I'm stuck at home now for months. I can't go anywhere. So I can't talk to Mama Fox about Warhammer or, shades or painting or weathering. So no offense, Mama Fox. But so, and you're my friends. So it's just as much a place for me to interact with you as it is for you to interact with each other. So apologies in advance if for some of these streams I don't even get much work done, because that's not the important bit. The important bit is this iPad here. This is the important bit. So just saying that in advance, in case we spend a lot of time waffling and not a lot of time working. Anyway, let's have a look. Paul says of Nat Williamson, she's cool indeed. Thumbs up to Nat for letting him get the Titanic and the other thing. Gemma Williams, I don't know what the question was to Andy McLeish, but Gemma says, I don't think so. I think he's just behaving now for when he can't go to work and has to stay home, hoping I won't find jobs for him. Oh, this must be great about Chris then. Yeah. Rascal's Hobbies is in. Welcome, Rascal's Hobbies. Welcome. Is the stream hiccuping for anyone else, or is it just me again? It might just be you, buddy. Just so you know as well, now I don't know how this is going to work, but apparently YouTube are going to start dropping the quality on live streams to just save the network. It might mean that going forward all live stream content is at 4. They keep saying standard definition, but as far as I can tell, for them that is 480p. I'm normally at 1080p. So going forward, you may find the quality of not just mine but anybody's live streams might become absolute garbage. because they drop it to 480p just to make sure the network is free for everything, because they want to make sure that the network doesn't fall over, obviously right now. And it's in the US, it's in the UK and EU at the moment. Will be in the US later on apparently. But I don't know how it's going to work or when it's going to kick in. So at some point my streams will become garbage to look at, especially my video game stream. 480 Skyrim at 480p. Oh, but I'm still going to do it. I'm not going to stop. David Sanderson says, Bench Sector Mechanicus Crane, belly will be roast chicken with trimmings. Ooh, trimmings. Mordraka says, party pies for belly, could not bother digging into the deep freezer for anything else. Bench 7 bases of Nurglings and Plague Bearers. He actually types Plague Bears, and I think Plague Bears sounds much better than Plague Bearers. So from now on, you need to make Plague Bears. It's the law. This thing about not digging into the deep freeze, I'll tell you what. When I did go to the store before we put ourselves on lockdown in this house, I went to the store and I picked up as much as dried and tinned stuff as I could that would last us for as long as possible. And yeah, I've got so much bags of gnocchi and pasta. Mama Fox doesn't even like pasta that much, and I just said to her, "You're gonna have to get to like it because you ain't got much choice." Let's have a look. Andy McLeish says, yikes to Gemma, maybe break a clock or two. Chris is a horologist and fixes, an horologist and fixes clocks and repairs them and stuff. It's morning here, Foxy, says Scale Model Muse. Good morning, Muse. Have you had your morning coffee and sorted out your bed hair yet? Or are you still in bed? That's really lazy, because if you don't have to get up, don't get out of bed. If you can watch the internet whilst still in bed, just stay in bed. I would. But I can't watch the internet or do anything. Stephen Werner, Bench Mortarian's wings, belly, delicious cheesecake. I'm going to show you something now that's going to make you really sad, and it's really embarrassing for me, but I'm going to show you anyway. Give me 1 second. A long time ago, I started Mortarian, and all I got round to doing was priming him because other things took a vent, and he's been stored on the top of my display cabinet. And I hate to tell you, but have you seen the dust on that? Oh, it's just made a disease. Look. There's so much dust on that. I need to get him done. Yeah, I need to strip him down and reprime him, or just reprime it. I tried doing a very light airbrush prime coat. It didn't really work. So get the dust on that. Oh, there's probably creatures in there. Oh, let me put that back up there. So now we've got all this time on our hands. As I said earlier on, I think in yesterday's show and the show on Friday, Thursday, whenever. This week, so tomorrow onwards, I'm going to start on the Big Perfect Grey Millennium Falcon. When that's done, I can do what I want then. I was going to start doing stuff that I can sell, but I can't sell anything because I can't ship anything anywhere because I can't go to the post office to ship things. So I'm just going to work on anything basically, and I've got things to do. I've got a little build series I want to do for Goblin Gaming because they sent me a kit. I've got my Baneblade, but I'm going to let Chris finish his first. I've got my Macarius Vanquisher. I've got my the Flamey tank that George got for me. Thank you very much, George. But I've got that as well, things like Mortarion. I've got my Knights Renegade set, 2 Imperial Knights and some scenery. Got loads of stuff I want to do. So we shall see. And also I've got all these to build and paint, so we shall see. So I need to get Mortarion done at some point. I have to say, because I did actually get a question when I first got Mortarion. I got a question from Derek Gutowski. I don't know if you're watching, Derek. Hello. I got a question from Derek Gutowski who said, will you be filming this because I've just got one? And I said, yes, I'll film it, and don't worry, I'll show you how to paint it. And that was like 1.5 years ago. Sorry, Derek. I've got it, you can't see it, but I've actually got a little post-it note on my computer monitor that I look at every day, and it says Mortarion equals Derek Gutowski. He requested I film it. So just so I remember that when I did film it, I could say, this is for Derek. So, Derek, if you're watching, yeah, it's there. I'll have to dust it. A lot of dust that was. Where are we? Raging Bases says, belly nothing, bench 2 more dice men, Arkham the Cruel, Dreist, and a King of War Scald. Once these are done, we start on the Judge Dredd models. Awesome. Lewis Williamson's going, he says, be right back, just going to go and peel the potatoes. That's you on potato peeling duty because you're in trouble now. Oh. Let's have a look. Paul de Tomas says, Fox, I got Borderlands 3, started playing yesterday. Cool. I was actually going to say, your coffee is too white for me, Foxy. Is it safe? Yes. It's got like, don't forget, that's a litre of coffee with 2 coffees and loads of milk. I like to have loads of milk so it cools down quickly, but it stays drinkable for the whole 3 hours. Normally I don't have that much milk. I was going to say, somebody asked me the other day, like, when I was talking to someone about what happens when your mojo goes, when you're at the bench. What do you do? Because you don't, and I said in the conversation, I said, you don't want to force working at the bench. You don't want to force anything. You'll just do your worst ever work. I'm going to move this down so you can see. Guthorm's here, by the way. Move this down so you can see the chat. You don't want to force anything. So I said I go off and play the Xbox, and I suddenly thought, because we're going to have a lot of time on our hands, what would I recommend you play? And I suddenly thought, you know what? If you've got an Xbox or PlayStation, I think they're on PC as well, but whatever you play, if you've never tried them before and you can get them without going to a game store, I would recommend Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Skyrim. Those 3 games will give you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of just exploring and adventuring. I got 1,000 hours in Fallout 3 and 900 hours in Fallout 4, and I've got over 1,500 hours in Skyrim. So, and the good thing is that you do the little bit of storyline at the start, and then you just wander off into the landscape. You don't have to follow the storyline. You have to do any missions. So if you're really stuck for something to do, get yourself one of them 3, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Skyrim, and just get the first few missions done, wander out into the landscape, and just put some podcasts on, because they're the kind of game where you can wander off and just pootle about and have a podcast in the background, or have like video like mine with chat. Sometimes when I'm playing Skyrim, you know, if I'm watching, say, Chris's stream of an evening, or I'm watching, say, Colin's stream in the morning, or other people's streams, I'll have the stream going, and I'll also have the chat on my iPad next to me while I'm playing the game at the same time, because I can listen to the live stream, I can keep an eye on the chat and type when I need to, but also play my game. So yeah, those 3 games, I mean, there's other games out there, but just from my experience, those 3 games, Fallout 3 and 4 and Skyrim, you'll get hundreds of hours. I don't think they're that expensive anymore either, so there you go. Fox, we've done that one. Cottage Pie says, Wayne Haywood, Belly Cottage Pie, bench painting Legion, Han Solo and Fleet Troopers. Cool. Rascal's Hobby says, prayers for all, be and stay safe. Thank you very much. Stay safe yourself. Lewis Williamson, belly, roast pork and some of the trimmings, as it's now being... Yeah, I think he got in trouble. Belly, roast pork and some of the trimmings, as it's now being made by me, and bench was photo etched for the 1350 HMS Belfast. Yeah, I think he's been told now. Okay. James Lorimore says, is DoorDash a thing outside the States or something similar? I don't know what DoorDash is. I don't think we have it over here. We have things like, food delivery service where they can deliver takeout for you and stuff. Rascal's Hobbies, have you ever used Reaper paints? No, but people in chat may have done. Anybody in chat has used Reaper paints? Have a chat with Rascals. Scale Model Muse says, Reaper Minis paints. I've used the samples they sent with the orders. She likes them. Andy McLeese says, yes, YouTube and Netflix will be streaming at 480p to help ease traffic congestion and so that the infrastructure doesn't keel over and die, which is, you know what, I'm fine with that. Yes, it's nice to watch things at 1080p or 4K, but you know what, if it means everything keeps working, I'll happily watch things at 480p, because I watch a lot of stuff on unofficial streaming sites, let's say, when I want to watch something that I can't get otherwise on these particular sites, and they're often at like 360 or even worse, so yeah, I'm used to it. James Lorimer says, I forgot to take a picture of it, but I finally finished my Jack Skellington Gundam. I have to post it later when I get the chance. I was watching Blackadder, so some of the lines are a bit shaky. Yeah. Wendy H says, order put through with Goblin. Hope it helps. Thank you very much, Wendy. It really, really will. You're very, very kind. You're an absolute darling. Thank you, thank you. I think you've just joined me on Patreon as well, so if that was you, thank you very much for your patronage as well. That's very, very thoughtful of you. Yes, James, put them in the Boom Hut. Anybody who's new, by the way, I do have a Facebook group. I'll put the link in chat if my button works. I assume my button works. Did it work? Yes. And the Model Makers Boom Hut. It's a super friendly place where you can just hang out and do stuff. It's not real time like this, obviously, which is why I'm going to be doing more streams. But it's a super friendly place where you can hang out and have a good time, and it's very, very safe. We don't allow shouting stuff. Let's have a look. My hair is on its own. Lol. Coffee. Second cup, says Muse. Hair's just doing what it wants now. Forget trying to fix it. I just did it. I did it all over number 2 and a haircut. Number two, not pooping. I didn't poop on my own head. I'd be kind of talented if I could do that. David Sanderson. Hey Fox, I was going to come up to my olds in April and was thinking of popping around and saying hello in person. No. There's a sign on the door that says do not come past the driveway. It'd be very nice, but no. And also, I wouldn't recommend coming to visit your parents. If they're old, they're at risk, you're putting them at risk. I know it's hard, but it's best to do it over video call or something similar. Right now is not the time to be visiting relatives, especially older relatives. I would be honest, and I'm going to be harsh and say that. It sounds harsh. Don't. Just don't. But yes, yeah, thank you for the offer, but we wouldn't let you get past the driveway. Assuming that we're still all on lockdown by that point. Jamie Bone, Bench FX 172nd, English Electric Lightning, nice. Belly, roast chicken, and all the trimmings. I knew it'd be roast chicken or roast beef. It's always one of the two. Annie McLeese says, oh, sake, Fox, getting painted. I'm getting told off from Immortaria now. Raging Basis says, creatures like ... spiders. Yes. And that breaks my heart, says Stephen Werner. I know. Finish the Zaku, says Raging Bassist. I probably won't finish that, to be honest, because it's been too long. If you don't know, I was doing the Big Perfect Grade Zaku and I was doing that film series for Ammo, for Ammo by Mig. They asked me to do it. But as I was doing it, that was about the time that Mig's wife became very ill. And I actually thought she passed away. This was about 2 years ago. I thought she passed away at the time. And I stopped doing it because she was my point of contact at Ammo. So I just stopped. I didn't know, of course, she actually sadly passed away last year. I thought she'd passed away a couple of years ago, but she hadn't. She was just very ill. But anyway, that's why I stopped filming it, because at that point I thought, I don't feel comfortable carrying on and sending it to them because it's the least of their concerns right now, and I've just never got back to it. And it's been too long now. I couldn't go back to it. I might do. All I've got to do is weather it, but I don't know. It would feel weird. Only 3 likes and 40 people watching, says Eric Graham. We have 38 people watching, and yes, do give me a like. Whenever you watch content from somebody you enjoy, please give them a like, including me. Please give us a like. It helps us get up in the listings, and therefore we get more views, and it helps our income. I do this for a living, so this is what I do for my job. So, Sean Wiles, welcome Sean, says belly nothing, bench nothing. There's no model making module on my Anaconda Elite. Hashtag Elite __ geek _ alert. I love Elite Dangerous. You're not in bad company. Excuse me. Currently rocking in 2 playthroughs. I'm currently rocking a Sidewinder. I want to go around the entire galaxy in a Sidewinder. I was streaming that. And my normal main is a Crate Mark II. And my plan was to go all the way to the Milky Way, but I'm stopping all the way to the Milky Way, all the way to Sagittarius A star, but I'm stopping all the way. I'm getting all as many scans as I can. What, something happened? Anonymous something. My actual chat box covers it up. That's not very good, is it? Anonymous bought something. I don't know what he bought. Ooh, well, Anonymous, whoever you were. Anonymous bought a premium something, but I didn't see what it said because my chat box covered it up. So thank you very much. If anybody who saw that can tell me what it said, that'd be fantastic. Somebody bought some merch. Thank you very much. Whatever you bought, thank you. Yeah, if you're watching this, do give us a like. What was I talking about? I've got no idea. I've forgotten now already. Oh yes. So my plan was to go from starting to Sagittarius A star in my Crate Mark II, but I'm stopping at pretty much every star on the way and doing scans and stuff. To make as much money as I can and to get my name on as many star systems as possible. So in about 4 months, I've got from, let's say, there's Earth, I've got across there and up that way a little bit. I'm going that slowly, and I'm just doing O and G class stars, I think, to get as many Earth-likes and ammonia worlds as I can. Yeah, I don't know what there was. It was hidden under my chat because it put the thing in really. I need to amend that. The pop-up was really massive and disappeared under my chat. Somebody bought something. Whoever you were, thank you very much. Yes, it was me, Wendy. Thank you very much, Wendy. It's very, very kind of you. I really appreciate it. Right, I need to catch up with the chat now. Raging Basis says, I feel like a git now. Why? What have we done? I don't know what you did, but I'm sure it wasn't that bad. You're not a git. Baby-doo-doo. I don't know what you said. What did I say? What did you say? You've lost me. You're not a git, dude. We all love you. Don't worry about it. Eric Graham, Gemma Williams, but we want Chris in trouble. It's a lot more fun that way. People are talking about... I'm not going to talk about them anymore now because I don't want to make Gemma uncomfortable. Quantum Man says, I'm thinking of sending my mum a text to say, I'm not calling round, but it's not because you're an annoying wally. It's because if you're doddering off fart and you're possibly deceased, you might not go down very well. Dad says, bought a premium VN something. Yes. I think the pop-up said, Anonymous bought a premium V-neck t-shirt. Cool, thank you very much. If it was a V-neck t-shirt, whoever you were. You don't know this, by the way. You probably don't know this. Most people forget, but I do have a merch store. There are links in the description below. And if you've not got ads blocked, there's a little pop-up thing of all the t-shirts. But there are t-shirts and hoodies. I must put more up there. There's not very much up there at the minute. It was about the Zach. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. No, don't feel like a git. Because most people don't know. Hello, that might be Dad sending me something. Oops. Was a premium V-neck t-shirt, says Dad. Thank you very much, whoever bought that then. Yeah, don't feel bad, bassist. I think I explained it, but at the time, it's been a couple of years. I'll probably get back to it. I will do it at some point. But it kind of opened the box the other day when I was sorting out my Workbench a couple of weeks ago. I got the box open, I looked at it and was like, it wouldn't feel, it'd be weird. Let's have a look. Sean says, I went to Sagittarius via Colonia on my way home now, been in the black for weeks. Yeah, I was stopping at almost every star system to scan everything, so I've been out in the black for about a year. And I've only got about not even halfway to Sagittarius A-star yet. So how long it will take me to circumnavigating a Sidewinder? Decades. Right, anyway. Raging Bassist, I want to order a t-shirt, but I'm at the moment reluctant to buy anything. The modelling supplies when necessary. Yeah, and I'm not expecting anything to do anything now, mate. Right now, buying funky t-shirts with my logos on it is not a priority, and I wouldn't expect anybody to, which is why I'm really made up that somebody did. Because I know that some of you out there, you know, you're financially fine, you can afford that kind of stuff. A lot of us really will be struggling over the next few months, so I don't expect anything from anyone. That's why I'm incredibly grateful when I do get something from someone. You know, like a super chat or a bit of merch sells, or you know, or somebody placed an order on Goblin. It doesn't sound like it, but I am incredibly grateful because you know, this is what I do for a living. Right, where are we? Let's do some goddamn work, Fox. Well, we're on 40 minutes already. Right. Quantum Man says, Fox, it's not as though she can ground me. Government beat her to it. Yeah. David Sanders says, you should try going to Beagle Point. I've got to get to Sagittarius A-star first. My plan was to go from Earth to A-star and then up and across to Beagle Point, but none of my ships are actually equipped enough to get to Beagle Point. I only got halfway through modding my Crate Mark II before I went off in the journey, so I'm kind of stuck at the minute. I need to get to the space station at Sagittarius A-star so I can at least do some engineering to get my frameshift drive engineered. It's kind of half engineered, and I've got the blueprint. But yeah, and then when I did my little Sidewinder run, I kind of figured out more about engineering, and I realised I'd missed out loads of stuff on my crate. But it's too late now. Can't go back. Get a Crate Phantom, says David Sanderson. No, Crate Mark II is better, but I can't remember why. But it's better apparently. Right, I need to do the guy with the stick. So we are at the moment still in the middle of building the Chaos Cultists. Issue 50 of the Warhammer Conquest partwork. Over the coming weeks and months, I'll be building a lot of these. So we're going to get this one done. Probably won't get them. We might get them finished today. They're only quick, simple builds, these, which means I might spend all afternoon doing these. You know what I'm like. It takes me forever. And I need to get that arm. I think it was that arm. Let me just... Which arm was it? Because it's the same guy twice. It's the guy with the pistol. Pistolen gefahren. Ja, das ist richtig. Got both, used my Crate 2 for combat, says David. Well, I've got my Crate 2 kitted out for kind of everything. I've got it obviously set up for exploration with a SRV bay and stuff. I've also got weapons on it and shields and things. Because you never know. because I didn't want to go all the way into space. And that's why I upgraded from the leave my visor of seeing. By the way, I've got my space helmet of seeing on, so if I do get in this in shot all the time, do let me know, because I won't know. Yeah, I didn't want to spend like months and months and months going out into the great beyond, and then on the way back going to civilized space and suddenly find I got ganked by a pirate and lose all my data, because I would literally have a year or two's worth of data. So I made sure that I upgraded from the Aspect Explorer to the crate purely so I could have some extra slots to put weapons on. So it's all tooled up now, and I got to tell you, when I'd been flying that for about a year, and then I started doing a live stream where I'm flying the Sidewinder, and I know the Sidewinder's kind of pants at most things, but I tell you what, it's so much more fun to fly, because I hadn't flown the Crate Mark II for a while, and I've been spending time flying the Sidewinder. So I got in the crate, and it's like, oh god, it's like flying through treacle, because the Sidewinder's so manoeuvrable and fast and zippy. And I found myself just wanting to play my Sidewinder playthrough just because it's more fun. Even though it's got pants weapons and it can't want to survive in a fight, I just wanted to play that. Tickly nose today. Don't worry, it's not the lurgy. I've not got chocolate riboflavin or whatever it is. Velociraptor. I forgot my own joke though. Never forget your own jokes. Never works out well. Not a lot of seam lines on this guy. So I can do it all with my knife, because they're really minimal mold lines. I mean mold lines, not seam lines. Don't care about the nubs on the bottom, because they go into where the base is. That's fine. For an anaconda, it's like flying a block of flats. Nah. I might do eventually, but... I mean, I've got like, I think I'm like 50 billion credits or something, or 500... I think I'm like 800, 900... I may have even hit 1 billion credits just cashing in some data up until, you know, before I went out into the great beyond. Because I went out into the great beyond, and I think 2 or 3 times I found a little asteroid base in a nebula, so I've been able to cache my stuff in. Eric Graham asks Dad how the Blue Space Marine army he's working on is coming on, and Dad says, banhammer in hand. James says, our sad news, I have absolutely no primer at the moment, so painting is at a standstill currently. Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, that's the big problem we're all going to have, I think. I mean, I'm going to have, if this thing carries on for months and months and months, eventually things are going to start running out. Like, I've already run out of Avalanche Sunset. So I do need to get some more, but that might have to wait till after payday. Primer, I've got, you know, I've got loads of airbrush primer and stuff, so I'm fine for that. But yeah, I might have to start. Wow, get my teeth in. I might have to start getting creative with the old paints, because let's be perfectly honest, a lot of the places we're going to depend on for our supplies may well at some point have no choice but to close their doors for the duration. Hopefully come back afterwards, but you know, they may have to close their doors as non-essential. It may be that the government says all non-essential shops must close. Just throw it everywhere, Fox, why don't you? At that point, we're then on our own, because we've just got whatever we can use that we've already got, or perhaps Amazon might be by then sending out non-essential stuff, but we don't know. Right now, Amazon is mostly just doing essential items, so yeah, it's a bit hit and miss. Stephen Werner, I'm out. My dog wants a walk. I've been back in 20 minutes. Make sure to avoid people, Stephen. Quick, someone order Fox 50 pots of all Citadel paints. I tell you what, if someone sent me 50 of every colour, I'd be like, wow. One day, my dream is that I can go online and say, basically order the display case for all the paints that you get in stores. Just say, I want that place with the rack and everything. Just give me that fully stocked. Bang, there you go. I reckon one day I'll get a silver play button or gold. One day I won't say I'll get a gold play button, but I'll get a silver play button. I'll have enough people watching. I'll be able to afford silly stuff like that. You know what? I'm going to buy an entire Citadel paint rack. Just amazing. And then I'd have to get super OCD about putting all the colours back in the right place. Can you imagine that? You come back and you find there's a red in the middle of the yellows, and you'd be like, oh no! No, 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 no. Now I know Citadel Games Workshop used to sell their entire... I'm going to put my dog tags under my t-shirts so they don't rattle because they're annoying me now. There you go. They used to sell their paint set, but it was like every single paint they did. They don't do it anymore. It was like their mega paint set, and it was everything. And it was like hundreds of pounds. It was stupidly expensive, if I remember rightly. Something happened. Marvin Velasco subscribed. Thank you very much, Marvin Velasco. If I seem a little confused about things sometimes, what happens is when somebody does something that pops up on the side there, the only way I can see what it is I do have a little list of things that have happened on the streaming software and the actual stream itself that I can see. I have to go and see on the stream what the pop-up was, but it doesn't always put the information in the list down the side of what the thing is, so I can't always see what just happened. Like it's telling me that the last thing I've got is that Quano Man put a super chat through. It doesn't tell me about that subscription, even though it should be. Streaming software, don't you love it when it doesn't quite work fully? Thanks, Streamlabs. Right, what are we doing in chat? Ray Aquilino is in. Welcome, Ray. Welcome, buddy. Hope you are safe and well. Paul says Amazon are shipping as normal. Okay, cool. They did say they were going to focus on his essential items, but maybe that's just like Amazon now or something. I do not know. Muse says that one of her hobby shops is still open with limited hours. Yeah, they might do, because at the end of the day, they're going to be under the same problem that we are. If they're not an essential service and the government says you all need to just stay in place now and stay at home, they're kind of knackered. They can't do anything. You can't really run a shop from home. Oh god, Fox is throwing stuff. I've got a bottle of unopened Vallejo Primer, but I wouldn't give it to my worst enemy. Yeah. Get it, put it in a little frame and just call it as a lesson in what not to do. Muse says she's fairly stocked up with supplies. Well, my wife's hours have been cut drastically because of chocolate velociraptors. The store she works at is open 9 to 9 and she has to work 8 till 6 instead of 6 till 4:30 p.m. Yeah, a lot of retail now are going to start debating whether it's worth staying open if they're not doing essential stuff. Especially with the government saying, you know, we're going to pay 8% of your staff wages and things like that. Stores will have the incentive to just stop if they think they're not going to necessarily go out of business horribly. Because you know, store owners, they're torn. They don't want to close. I mean, you know, retailers and stuff, they do want to close because they want to, you know, help the public. They want to help everybody out. But at the same time, if they close, that's their livelihood gone. So that's why they need lots of reassurance from the authorities that they're going to have help. If you're a big supermarket chain or something, then it's different. Or a big national chain of stores, it's different. If you're the guy that runs Wetherspoons, just shut up. Absolute spoon that guy is. But you know, if you're a little sort of mom and pop store, as the Americans would say, little one-man band, you've got your one shop and it's been family run for 100 years, or you're just a little tiny whatever shop that isn't like a greengrocers or food supply and stuff. You're going to be worrying now because you want to do the right thing. You want to do the right by the public, but you also don't want to go out of business. So, yeah. Bad time for a lot of places. So I would say if you have some favourite little stores right now, like your model stores and things, if your favourite model store, I'm not saying go to your local shop, whatever that shop may be, you know, I'm not really talking about Warhammer stores here because you can't really do this with them, but you know, if you've got a local store it might be a model store, it might be a furniture shop, it could be anything, any kind of retail that's not essential. It's not food and drinks, it's not medical supplies, the kind of place that will eventually get shut down and mandated to close. If they offer online shopping, so you just place an order, you don't have to go into the store, then just, if you can, help them out. Place orders. Keep ordering at them. Just keep them going. Because at least then when they do have to close, they've got some money in the bank then. They've got something there to fall back on. So, you know, if you use a local game store, like, you know, a couple of the guys there use Goblin Games. If you use a local non-game, you know, a non-Warhammer store, because, you know, some of you do, then order some stuff. We're going to be stuck indoors for months. Some of you may just be on a 14-day or a 7-day furlough because you have to be, but it might be that we all end up staying indoors for months. If you're able to, if you can afford it, if you've got the disposable income, help out your local stores as best you can. Now, I'm not going to say don't order from Games Workshop, of course, because you know, you should do help Games Workshop because they're making the stuff we're buying. But at the same time, you can't order online from your local store. You're not helping your local store by ordering online. The way you help out your local store is you go into your local store and you either buy it from them. This is your local Warhammer store. You either buy it from them, in which case that gets marked up on their sales figures, or you order it from their in-store terminal and have it delivered to the store, because that counts as an online sale, but to them. You may not know this, but if you go to your local store to collect an order you've made on the Games Workshop website and had delivered to the store, that doesn't count towards the store sales figures. It doesn't help them at all. So if you are, you know, normally I would say if you're able to, go to your local Warhammer store to support them. Order it from them, but order on, it's like pre-orders and stuff, order it on their console, their big massive iPad, online. I made a right mess of that gun barrel. Oh well. But if you do, that's terrible gum. I've read a right hash of that, but never mind. But yeah, if your local gaming store that you frequent is a non-Games Workshop store, show them some love. If you're able to and you've got disposable income, order some stuff. Stockpile the stuff you're going to be building for the next few months and help them out. Because at the end of the day, this is going to pass. We're all going to go back to normal. Not the end of the world. It'll pass, we'll all get back to our normal lives. But when it comes to retail, it's going to be a whole different landscape. A lot of the places we depend on and know and love just won't exist anymore. Even with government subsidies and things like that, some of them will just go to the wall. So, show them some love while you can. I don't mean go there, I mean if you can order online, show them some love. And maybe, just maybe, you'll help guarantee that when this all blows over, they'll still be there. Hopefully. Right, what's chat doing? Doodaloo, doodaloo, doo. Just building these chaos spawns. These are actually really cool, says David Sanderson. Not got that far yet. My store is on reduced hours too, but they won't close us. We sell food and other essentials, says Muse. Amazon isn't taking any non-essentials from suppliers, but they are still up and running for what they have, says Muse. Yeah, that sounds about right, to be honest. Something on my screen, there's like a little bit of little tiny molecule of super glue or something. It's got on my screen. I can feel it and it's doing my head in. I'll have to get it off later. Ray says, hello to all my friends. Yes, I'm okay, but still at home, says Ray. Yep, take care of yourself, buddy. It does annoy me lately that, you know, you see the people who are like, well, it's only like the flu, innit? And I'm going to go out to the pub and get drunk and I'm going to do all this. And it's like, that's so selfish. They don't consider the fact that just because they are not going to get affected by it, that other people aren't. You know, they don't realise that there are people out there who, you know, have issues. And I hate that mentality. It's very selfish and it makes me annoyed. I have to say I'm incredibly glad that I don't know anyone like that. I don't know anyone that would have that frame of mind of, oh, it's all over, it'll all blow over and everybody's fussing about it. They don't need to. It's only like the flu. What's the worst that can happen? And you know, the worst that can happen is you get some chocolate velociraptor on you, you're asymptomatic, which means you don't show any symptoms and don't suffer any symptoms. Then you go home, you kiss your mother, who may be old, or your father, you give them a hug, or, you know, whatever. Pass it on to your parents or your grandparents, and then they have underlying health conditions, and they die. But don't worry, brah. You're alright, because you're young. Yeah, I can't stand people like that. I'm glad that I don't know anyone like that. Ooh. And I have to say, feeling a lot of despair at the minute of the kind of people that are just doing that. You know, the people that go onto the beaches in Florida, the Brits or the English morons in Spain, going out on the lash on the evening. Oh, I'm not going indoors. I'm on holiday. I'm coming to the pub. You know, the people on Bondi Beach, all that kind of stuff. We just need to stop. It's making me ashamed to be the same species, to be perfectly honest. Some of those people. You can't help them, can you? You just can't help them, some of them. Can't help themselves. Done one, dude. Right, where are we? Let's get some cheerfulness. Question, what is still liquid green stuff actually for, says Jamie Bowen. It is a filler. Normal green stuff, where you get the blue and the green strip, that's like milliput. If you got like the blue and the green strip, the solid stuff, you get two different colour strips. You cut off equal amounts, and then you take those two bits and you mix them together and they go green. It's no blue and yellow, I think they are. Sorry, not blue and green. Cut two little bits off the same size, mix them together, they go green. You then use that as a filler, or you can use it to sculpt. You make things out of it. A lot of people will make cloaks by getting the putty, rolling it flat, and then draping it over the figure. After a few hours, it'll go rock solid, and you can carve it and sculpt it. Liquid green stuff is the same kind of thing, but it's just for filling really tiny little imperfections, because it's kind of sloppy and liquid. It's like sprue goo. Think of it like sprue goo. You would use the thick putty stuff for filling like big gaps and big holes. But if I gouged a hole out of the back of this guy's jacket, for example, I didn't want to, I might use the liquid green stuff just to brush it on, and then when it's dried, sand it back, just to fill tiny imperfections. So it's really, you can't use it to fill massive holes and gaps, because it'll just run into the gap, but you can use it for little dimples and scratches and things. You can use it to fill tiny imperfections. It's like liquid milliput. Scale model Muse says Jamie sitting on a shelf since it's useless. Yeah, I've never tried it. I did get some when I got my Forge World Macarius Vanquisher tank. I got a load of it while I was there, just because I thought I'll have to do some filling. It's a resin Forge World kit. I'm gonna have to do some filling. And then my milliput was well out of date, so I picked some up, but I've not used it yet. Eric Graham says, my girlfriend's dad's hobby shop is curbside only, and the shop is located across his driveway. Let's have a look. All retail is essential to the shopkeeper. This is true. Chris, of course, being in retail, self-employed. What's chat doing? I've got a new counter. James Lorimore says he got a new countertop toaster oven, and the foam it was packaged in is now our pretend TV. And his 9-year-old is working hard to keep them entertained. Bless. Muse says, can't go out to pubs and bars, they're all closed. Yes, they should be. Gaz Vickers, hello Fox and the Flibbles. Welcome Gaz, welcome. Michael Elliott, afternoon everybody, welcome Michael. Nim is in, hi guys, I worked last night. Welcome Nim. Yay. Nim says, wakes up blinking, dang my nap was good, I am late. Yes. James says she's trying to remember the sciencey things she's learned and teaching us science. It's really good fun. Nice one. I'm not a parent and I'll never be a parent, but I strongly say to anybody who's considering being a parent or is a new parent, for the love of dog, for all that is holy in the world of things, get your child interested in science and technology and stuff, all the STEM stuff. For the love of dog, get your child into that. Expose them to science and learning, and keep them away from nonsense. Just keep them away from drivel, celebrity crap, and woo-woo nonsense. Just instill science into them. Teach them to look up at the stars in wonder. Teach them to question how the universe works. Don't teach them to obsess over Disney princesses and wonder about football and nonsense. Just teach them the interesting things, the important stuff. Breed a generation of intelligent people, not a generation of morons. For the love of dog. Now I have to say, all the people that watch my stuff, you're all kind of smart. You're not that kind of person anyway, so I don't think there's any worries with my kind of people that watch my stuff doing that. But yeah, I do look at people sometimes, and I look at their kids and think, what a waste. What a waste. And it is. Where's my sandy sticks? There they are. Sandy sticks. How they got over there. Do. My friend got a son and daughter, and I said to him, you know, instill the science in them. But he's quite scientifically minded anyway, and a bit of a tech geek, so they are encouraged in the ways of science and such. So bless him, his daughter's what, I think 5-year-old now. Right before at the time, he said when she was 4.5. He said, we sat at the table having breakfast, and she went, Daddy, how do black holes work? And I was like, you're doing dadding right. That's how you do dad correctly. You're doing dadding correctly there, dude. Little smile to myself. But yeah, you're doing it right. It's quite clever, apparently. Going to learn to crochet today, says James Lorimer. Well, relearn because it's been a couple of years since my first go. Cool. Mama Fox has actually just had delivered some knitting needles. Because Mama Fox used to do crochet and knitting all the time when she was much younger. When I was a young lad, she made all kinds of duvet covers and sweaters and stuff. A bit of plastic that's going to snap off if I'm not careful. And she sort of stopped doing it over the years, but she suddenly said the other day, I'm gonna get some more. I'm gonna get back into knitting. She's gonna make squares. You make a square, and then you make another square, and then you make enough squares that you've got a duvet, and you put them all together. That's what she's going to do. I think that's cool. So she did a load of bamboo knitting needles that came through the post today. I'm like, cool. I looked at them and said to her, you know, we got a whole drawer full of chopsticks you could have just used just as good. She's like, yeah, no, I suddenly realised that when I saw them. They just look like giant chopsticks. I shall have to try some of them as actual chopsticks to see how well they do. Not many seam lines on this puppy. I'm very grateful to the fact. It's a shame that they're so simple and there's some sort of shortcuts on them. But at the same time, I'm glad of the fact that it means there's not a lot of seam lines. Nothing wrong with football, says David Sanderson. Yeah, I know, but football's fine. But when you get these kids that grow up and all they do is football, it's like, you know, it's... Well, you know, I'm specifying football there, but I mean just mindless stuff. Nobody instills into them that, you know, learning is important and knowledge is power. It's all just celebrity crap and football and sport and stuff. There's too many people that's all they think about, and it's a waste. But all you guys, you take everything in measure. You're not like that. You're not like that. Doodle-doo-doo. Science and maths equals keys to the universe, says Osric 9000. Absolutely. And one of the reasons there's one thing I despise, it's the whole cult of celebrity. I have no interest in any celebrity whatsoever. Celebrity nonsense. It's just drivel. And the fact you get magazines devoted to this crap annoys me, but it's more because 99.9% of the time these people are morons, like celebrities and influencers and all this kind of crap. They're all just morons, but they have a platform, and a lot of them are like anti-science, anti-critical thinking morons. and they say something that's just moronic and dangerous and anti-scientific thinking, and then their billions of followers take that, don't question it, and just accept it as fact when it's probably not. And this is what makes me angry. So that's why I have a deep loathing of this whole cult of celebrity, this crap. They don't, just because they're an actress or a model or whatever, a sporting person or whatever they do. The worst of the worst are like Instagram influencers. They're just vapid, pointless examples of people. Just absolute wastes of oxygen. And yet people hang on their every word and think they're getting good advice. It's like, ugh. No. No. It makes me very angry sometimes. Not that it would ever happen to me, but should I ever get to the point where I have any kind of, any kind of status like that, not that I ever would. It's never going to happen. But imagine I woke up tomorrow morning and I suddenly had like 5 million YouTube followers and I had a platform and people listened to what I said. Because right now I've got like 10 followers and nobody listens to anything I say because it's all just bollocks. And rightly so, I should say. Don't take anything I say at face value. Don't take it at any value. But if I suddenly woke up tomorrow and was like, I've got like 5 million followers and YouTube is sending me the gold button and people are listening to things I say, I tweet, I've had some cornflakes this morning and suddenly cornflake sales spike. And I'm like, hello. I would use that wisely. I would use it responsibly. I would use it to promote thinking. Just to promote thinking. And to turn away woo-woo and mystical nonsense and crystal wearing, tree hugging, sandal wearing nonsense. I'd be like the antimatter version of Gwyneth Paltrow in my brain. I'd be like anti-goop, because that's all bollocks. It's just nonsense. Don't ever give your money to Gwyneth Paltrow. For the love of God, don't do that. I'd be like anti-goop. I'd have an online store that sold stuff that's actually useful and not just nonsense. Yes, all that it's just rubbish makes me angry sometimes. Do. Where are we up to in chat anyway? Dad, did you ask the question? Says Nim. Yep, done it. I think by this point in the show, Nim, if you come in this time, you should just assume it's been asked and just answer it anyway, regardless. Because then if either he'll have asked it and you've answered it, or if he hasn't asked it, he'll go, oh yeah, we didn't ask the question. Then I shall give my answer now, she says. Bench, my Ninja Ultron, posted in the Boom Hut. Good girl. Belly, I have no idea. Depends on what I want delivered. Yes. May I suggest, perhaps, something with noodles or pasta of some sort and stodginess and lots of meat would be good. Yeah, Fox is going to be getting knitted socks and a bobble hat. Yes. No, I don't think Mum would be up for making like clothing. I think that might be beyond her current skills, sadly, nowadays. But she definitely says she's going to make squares. She's going to make. I'm going to make squares. She's like, I'm going to make squares. She'll make squares, and then she'll get smaller squares and put them in the middle at an angle, and put them together, and then she'll make a duvet cover or anything else that's generally of a square or rectangular shape made of squares. She'll make. I think it's brilliant. I think it's really great because with one of the things about this whole self-isolation is that for a lot of people it's a massive hardship, and of course it is. Especially if you've got kids, if you're used to going out to work every day and suddenly you're stuck at home. And now for us lot, obviously for most of us, it's fair to say we have an existing hobby. We've got the model making. So for most of us, at least we've something we can get on with. But there are, of course, people who don't have this. Not everybody watching this will actually make the models. But there's a lot of people who have nothing at all. They go to work, they come home, And maybe they've got a family in the house, or maybe they live by themselves, or it's just them and their other partner, or whatever. But there are people for whom there's nothing. They depend on the TV and whatever for their entertainment or socializing, perhaps. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what happens now, where they're forced to be indoors, either for a period of time or permanently, it's like a living hell for them. Not everybody's lucky. So yeah, for me, it's not so bad because obviously I've got this. Not, I mean, don't mean like this camera. I mean, I've got you guys, and I've got this whole thing, and I can make content, and I can stream content, and I can talk to you guys like I am now in chat. I can hang out with you guys, so I've got human contact of a sort. I can. I was about to say drop into, but maybe take over is the better phrase. I can drop into other people's streams if I'm invited, or if I need to. Chris's hangout streams and stuff like that. I've got the e-model stream. I've got stuff I can do to keep me busy, and if in one weird, perverse, and strange way, it's kind of a kick in the pants for me because doing this for a living and working from home is very easy just to sit on your laurels and not do anything. It's a constant battle to actually get down and do it sometimes. But yeah, it's not anything I can't cope with. And for Mama Fox, of course, Mama Fox, it's not even a major hardship for her because she doesn't go out much, doesn't go out a lot, because it's not as easy as it used to be. But she's quite happy. She's got her Xbox to keep her happy. She's got her iPad so she can read the internets. She's got Facebooks and stuff, and she's got a Kindle, and all that. But she wants something else, so she's thinking, I'm going to do some knitting, and I think that's brilliant. I think it's great that she's got that, because she's not into model making. She's my mum. It doesn't work like that. It's not like we can share time over. We can hang out together and spend time on my workbench because no interest to her at all. Thank you very much. Have I got? Oh wait, I've got 2 more to do. So it's nice that she's got that. But I don't think she's been doing bobble hats and knitted socks. That might be a bit beyond, I think, what she's able to do. Although she might surprise me. She used to make us sweaters and stuff. My grandma, when I was a little kid, we used to have one of my grandmas. I can't tell you her name. I have no idea what her actual name was. All I know, she was called Scottish Gran, because my dad was from Glasgow. So one of my grandmas, the grandma that I knew, was called Scottish Gran, or Squish Gran, as we used to call her. And I think I met her once when I was like 1 or something, so I've got no memory of her really. But she used to send us regularly. She used to live up in Scotland. She used to regularly send us like big care parcels. But they were basically just massive packs with lots of knitted things in them, because she used to knit. She's one of those grandmas that used to knit things. Because she lived in Scotland where it was like minus 400 degrees all the time, and we were in sunny Cheshire where it wasn't minus 400 degrees. So she'd knit us like sweaters and more sweaters, and sweaters that were pants, and sweaters that were gloves, and gloves with the strip. She'd do all that stuff. And I have memories of these parcels turning up on the doorstep. And I swear, imagine you took, I don't know, your entire bed and just wrapped it in brown paper and string and sent it from Scotland to like Cheshire. That's what we used to get. And you open it up and there'd be like hundreds of sweaters. This is the 1970s, in all the worst possible colours. Like a brown sweater with a red sleeve. And there's no guarantee it's going to have 2 sleeves. It might have 3, it might have 1. The sleeves might all be on the same side. There might be 3 sleeves all on the same side. Because bless her, she was a little bit doolally. And but she'd make socks and you get like a pair of 3. It's great. It's random stuff. We get all these things, but yeah, she never quite. I don't think she really ever figured out, like arms. She never quite figured that bit out. But bless her, she used to send them. So I've got fond memories of receiving these care packages when I was a young kid. Every now and then, with just bizarre, random stuff that as kids, we wouldn't want to wear it. We'd be like, oh, I'm not wearing that. You get the bubble hats and the sweaters. But bless her. And it was only later in life that, because when I was a kid, she was just Scottish Gran, and I never gave her any thought. She was never in my life that I was aware of. And I was literally 1 when I think I only ever met her once, and I was like 1. So she was never, you know, a person that I knew or interacted with. But it's only later in life that I started to think about it and think, you know, it's like she was my dad's mum. And my dad left Glasgow in the 1950s, never went back. And as far as I know, never saw her, went back to see it until she passed away much later. It's weird. I never kind of thought of it like she'd like sitting there up in Scotland. Her son's living in England. She hasn't seen him in 30 years. And it's like she becomes more human as I get older. And I think of, like, you know, say my grandma. She becomes more human because as I get older, I realise what life is like as you get older, and it's like, wow. I have to put into words. Do he even have one figure done yet? I've done 2. I've done him and I've done him. Thank you very much. And I've done him. I've done 3. Have I? I did him as well, I think. Did I? No, I did. Yeah, I've done 2. This will be the 3rd. Thank you very much, Mr. Doughty. Doubting McDoughterton. Stephen Werner's back. Welcome. Fox is venting lol, says David Sanderson. You think? Says Eric Graham. Basis are going to get a fresh brew. Excellent colour scheme on your Ninja Ultron, Nim. It's really striking, says Candygram. Hi, Candygram. I haven't seen it yet, obviously, so I'll have a look later on. Back. I had to talk to my Vampy. Say hi from us. Well, that's too late now because you're back now. Nim says that I didn't notice till I took the picture that it matched my tapestry I have hanging over my windows. Cool. You subconsciously chose the same colours. Don't you love it when a plan comes together by accident? Anyway, what's been going on in the world? How are you guys? Tell me how you're all doing. How are you at the moment? Now remember, if you are watching this, like I was saying at the start, the focus on my streams has shifted to not really giving a crap what I'm actually doing. It's more just a social event. It's a social hangout for you guys in the chat. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing here on the telly screen, or it doesn't even matter what I'm talking about. You could turn the sound off and turn the monitor off and just have the chat on a different monitor if you want to. It's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm more the facilitator for you guys to have somewhere to hang out and chat. So yeah, if you're watching this and you can see the chat there, but you're not in the chat and you've got access to it, join the live chat. Come and do it, typey, join in. Nobody's going to bite you. The mods will keep you safe, and everybody in there is lovely anyway. In my entire, how long have I been doing this now? 5-6 years? My entire 5 or 6 years of doing YouTube and doing streams and stuff, I've had like 5 comments that I've had, you know, 5 people maybe in the past that have tried to be a spoon in chat and quickly got removed in like years. I'm very lucky in that I've missed all that toxic nonsense. So come and say, like, join in the chat. I know some people don't like to do that and they just want to watch. But you know what, right now at this time in our lives, it's worth taking any social contact you can get. If that means just, you know, hanging out in live chat for a bit, take it. Take anything you can get. Pygate, says Raging Bassist. Yeah, Pygate was nothing. Pygate was like 1 on the Richter scale of shizzle that can go down and has gone down in the boom hut. Pygate was like not even barely perceivable. Pygate was nothing. Kajita's seen much worse than Pygate in his time. But yeah, somehow I managed to avoid the real toxic people in my chats. Really nice. But very, very, very occasionally, somebody comes along who's a little bit toxic and a bit of a tit, bit of a spam dangler. But the beauty of these kind of people is that, God, I wish that next door would just kill his dog. That stupid dog next door, but one is doing his barking thing again. Oh, I'm going to get a lot of that over the next few weeks. Yeah, you get the beautiful thing about spam danglers and, you know, simpletons that like to do the trolly stuff. The beautiful thing about them is They can't help themselves. They give themselves away within like 5 seconds. Within about 2 comments, you know exactly what you're dealing with, and you just ban them. You just kick them out. It really is. They really do just... They can't help themselves. Because they seem to think that their behaviour in, say, a live chat is some kind of threat and weapon. But you know what? As a YouTube creator, I couldn't care less. Because what they do in chat is they type words. And you know what aren't any danger at all in YouTube chat? Words. Because they're not going to harm anyone. And they can be deleted. That's it. But I'm lucky in that, you know, nobody does that. I think it's because I like to think that the kind of people that I attract to my stuff are... Hello? Something happened? Glued to the Sprue has super... At least it's Super Cruise then. Glued to the Sprue is super chatted £4.99 and says, I have carrots. Does Khajiit have coin? This Khajiit always has coin, my friend. May your sands find... May your... Oh, I got it wrong. I got the quote wrong. I'm going home. Can't do the quote if I can't get it right. May your feet find warm sands. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about, like, spam danglers in chat. A lot of channels, there are the channels that have had suffered massively with things like that. But I think I think sometimes channels that have had that problem kind of, they haven't helped themselves. They've handled it wrong and made it worse. It's all about how you handle them. And if your way you handle them is just to go, yeah, whatever, and then just delete the comment, then they go away because they get bored. And that's how I do it. I'm like, oh, whatever, child, bye. It's like the parent when the kid's there doing it, and the parent's just like, yes, dear, very nice, now go and play over there. Just dismiss it. I think too many people get hung up on it and get really, they start confronting it and dealing with it, and yeah, and they get hung up on it and they see it as a personal affront or an emotional insult and stuff. It's like, you know what? Nah. The person typing is a tit. Just delete the comment and move on. Don't give them the spotlight. But I think I just basically generally attract the more intelligent individuals with the wit and sagacity that tends to not allow such behaviours. What I'm saying is, guys, you're all dead smart and I love you to bits because you're all kick ass. You're all awesome peeps. I don't tend to encourage or generate or get that kind of person. And on the very, very rare occasion I do, my mods step in and just kick their ass anyway. A big thank you to all my mods, all my friends, who have kept everyone safe and the channel clean for all this time. You guys rock. Do. But it does make me laugh though. Those kind of idiots, they give themselves away straight away within 1 or 2 comments. It does seem to me that for a lot of, like, they're a bit like low-level criminals. You know, you get the low-level criminals that do things like they'll steal a thing out of a car, like if they see it sitting there, or they'll do a low-level crime, like a little tiny minor crime, stealing license plates, whatever. They can't help themselves but just drop themselves in it all the time. And that just makes life easier. Do. Lewis... I think Lewis has got in trouble, definitely. I think he's been given a load of chores because he says, I'm never insulting my wife again until next time. Yeah, or if you do, don't do it on a live stream where I'm going to read it out. Because what you have to remember is, when I read out comments that you send on the chat, I tend to read them out and then read them in my mind. So a lot of the times, unless it's from Paul, in which case I read it several times in my mind before I read it out. Just before he gets any ideas. Thank you for that, by the way, Paul. $4.99 is very, very kind of you. Yeah, I tend to read them out and then read them. So yeah. Consider carefully what you write in my chat, because I probably will read it out, and if it's going to get you in trouble, I'll definitely read it out. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Have a quick look at chat in a second. I've done another dude. Look, I'm steaming through these. I'm steaming like a steamy steam train on a steamy day. Steam-tastic. Anyway, yes, if I'm going on ranting at stuff and complaining about things like an old man shouting at kids to get off his lawn, it's because you guys aren't giving me stuff to talk about. We're going to be here for months, guys and girls. This is the long haul. For the love of dog, you need to give me things to talk about. And Paul, I don't just mean things that you know will trigger me. You need to have some responsibility to steer the conversation as well, you guys. Otherwise, it's going to be me whinging about barking dogs and kids on my lawn. I'm getting old. What can I do? I've got to do it. It's in my contract. Right, what's chat doing? Massive, massive thank you, Paul, for that. Very, very kind of you. Osric 9000 has just had a pork pie and some ginger nut biscuits. Neither of those things are nice. I don't like either of those things. If you'd said you just had steak and kebabs and more steak and beef and curry, that'd be great. I can never go to Melton Mowbray. I'll probably be kicked out. Walk into the town. I'll go through the town border of Melton Mowbray, and they'll be like, "Oh, you know, you out," because I really can't stand pork pies. Basis says, "I'm okay after this. I may grab a brew and go for a walk and read my book in a nice big grassy area away from people." Mew says, "Dead tired from all the extra hours at work, but next year I'll have a nice vacay on the company's money. Woohoo! Piegate." We've done that one. We're getting a temporary bonus amount on our pay right now, says Muse. Quanoman says, "Got an idea for knitting. She should make Chris a big long Doctor Who scarf to go with them big googly eyes on his VR headset." Yeah. Muse is perfectly happy with her human-free environment. Thank you. It's nice and quiet at the moment. Nim says, "So, random question times. If you could go back in time to any time period, what would that time period be?" There you go, chat. There's a question for you to answer. If you could go back in time to one single time period, when would you go? Well, when would you go? Can't say where. When would you go and why? I'll answer it myself in a minute when I've had a moment to think. Michael Elliott has just got round to wallpapering the downstairs hallway just now, just waiting for a roast chicken. Ooh, yes. Humanept says, "As long as Khajiit does not go anywhere near the edge of a tower." If you missed it yesterday, if you remember, like when me, Chris, and Paul play video games, Paul and Chris like to somehow get me out onto a ledge of some sort without me realising it and then push me off. It's a thing we do. But yesterday I went up on the top of a tower to fight a dragon, and without Paul even being there, I fell off the top of the tower and died. And I just said, "Paul, were you just willing that to happen in your mind over the internet?" Even when he's not there, and I know he's watching, I fall off things. When Nim says, "If you could go back in time to any time period," Lewis Williamson says, "To the beginning of this live show and not gloat about not having to take my wife out for her birthday on Wednesday." I think he's really in trouble. Be gentle with him now. Be gentle with him. Just get him to do a lot of DIY that he doesn't really want to do. Yeah. Yeah. Stephen Werner says, "My dog goes crazy outside chasing a bunny over the fields. It was hilarious. I ran after her like an idiot." Yeah, I like dogs. Dogs are awesome. Apart from the one next door, but one that never shuts up. Oh, I could just wrap an anvil around its face and dump it in the canal. I wouldn't really. I'm joking. It's just a pain. Oh, it's a little crappy cock-a-poodle-oodle-doodle nonsense, half mixed breed, weird, poncy, middle-class la-di-da dog that's not a proper man's dog. It just barks non-stop. It's like, oh, I'm not going to start. Coffee. Calm down, folks. Oh. Middle-class nonsense. Smart, me? I'm in the wrong chat then, says Sean Wiles. Mew says, "I just messed up my Chrome pen and it had to be the 1mm pen." Oh. When I used to do artwork, comic book art, I used to do like watercolour and inks. Occasionally what I'd do is using like an ink nib, an actual ink, because I'd do them as like watercolour. You do a pencil outline first, then watercolour, then an ink outline, and then proper ink outline over the top, brushing it in, things like that. For a while I used to use little pens instead, because it was easier sometimes. And I'd always run out of ink in a pen halfway through a project and be like, oh yeah, oh, right in the middle of your flow, and you'd I'd have to then, and it'd always be in the evening, not in the day, so I'd have to wait till the next day to then go to the art store to get a new pen. Even if I had loads of them, I'd run out halfway through. You never run out just before you start a project. I've not answered the question yet, Nim. I will do. Bit smart compared to Fox, you're okay, says Chris. How very dare you? Everyone's smart compared to me. Oh no, wait, that's not right, is it? Hoss, why are you on James Lorimer says, went to check on my kids because it was really quiet. There's the old joke. You don't worry about your 5-year-old when she's making lots of noise. You worry about your 5-year-old when she's not making any noise. That's how kids work. Talking is completely not a parent, of course. Went to check on my kids because it was really quiet, and my scientist 9-year-old just randomly looks up from her Chromebook and says, S is for shaving cream. That was it, lol. I don't blame you, Fox, says Lewis. I didn't type the comment. I just read what's put before me. I couldn't do it from this account, says Paul, because you would have my bank details over the super chat. I don't see that. No, I don't get to see anything. Just so people know, whenever you do tips and super chats and stuff, I don't see any of your information. All I get is your name and how much you. I don't have access to that information. Just in case anybody panics, I don't see any of that. Where are we? You could talk about the Duckworth-Lewis method. I have no idea what that is. Gross Model says, shh. Oh, Eric Graham says, Gross Models, don't you have projects you're needing to get done? And Chris at Gross Model says, shh. And then Eric says, painting some walls perhaps? And Gross Model says, shh, in bigger capital letters. Bassist said he'd go back to the 70s when he would have been cool because he was a bass player. David Sanderson will go back to 1990. Good music. I don't know when would I go back into? When would I go back to? I don't know. Because whenever you go back in time, in some way, it would suck absolute balls. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go back in time at all. I think I want to just go into the future where everything's awesome. Because I'd love to go back to the era of, to the 40s and 40s where it's like snap brim fedoras and suits and everything's suited, but you'd die because there were no antibiotics and every disease would kill you. And also, middle of the war and all that, no. I wouldn't want to go back to the 50s or 60s or 70s because they were in the UK. It was wet, cold, grim, and everything was broken, and everybody was always drunk. How people cope with it. The 80s were a nightmare because I was a teenager, spotty teenager. My body thought, hey, let's discover girls. But at the same time, let's make ourselves so repulsive to any female that you'll just be depressed for the next 10 years. So I don't want to go back to the 80s. 90s, I started work, so the first 10 years were, I've got to get a job. And crushing reality kicked in. The first 10 years, the 2000 to 2010, nah, I won't want to go back to that. Various reasons you don't need to know about. And from 2010 to now, I'd say of all my decades, the only thing that made the 70s palatable was the fact that I was a little kid. So as a little kid, everything was brilliant because it was always an Indian summer and I had toys and everything was fantastic. My parents just bought me any toys I wanted and it was great. In reality, now I'm an adult, if I look back on the 70s, I know it was grim and cold and wet and miserable and everything was rubbish and telly was rubbish and there was no computers, no internet. Everything was broken, nothing worked. The toys I brought were probably crap. So I can look back as an adult and say, no, actually the 70s were probably terrible. I'll plug my iPad. So yeah, I wouldn't want to go back in time, really. I'm happy now. I think life's only got better as we've gone along. I think in the last 10 years, because in the last 10 years, I've kind of not had to have a crappy job and I've been able to just shut myself away and shut the world out. I'm a very introverted person, so it sounds really weird for somebody hosting their own live streams. I think because I've been able to shut myself away to a large degree, I think I've been happier than ever before. And plus because I've not had to go out to a job every day. So, yeah. Because trust me, when you work in telecoms call centres, it's not a job you're going to love, or it's not a career, unless you're one of those management types. And it is a career, but then you're not really worth the oxygen you breathe in. So there you go. Where are we? So there you go. I wouldn't want to go back in time at all. I want to go forward. It's been nice to see Ted's progress photos on his new model building man cave, says Candygram from Mongo. Yeah, it certainly has. I'm so jealous. There's too many variables and I changed the course of time I find with the way things are, says James. When I was saying about when I was playing Scary Mist and I was stood on the top of the ledge on the tower, Paul says, I literally said out loud, fall off the ledge, and I did. And then I died. Justin Norman, welcome Justin. I don't think I've seen your name in chat before. Yes, I have. Welcome Justin. Feudal Japan during samurai period because I love samurais and the culture around it. Or during medieval times during the Viking era for the same reason. I love old cultures and their moral codes. You like the old, you'd like the old Bushido way, the way of Bushido. Scale model muse, Foxy, it's a not dog. At least it was nearly empty, but grr. It's a not dog. Is that the little yappy, crappy thing from next door? But yeah. Basically, if you're going to get a dog, get a Labrador, get an Alsatian, get a collie of some sort of border collie or something like that. Get a proper dog. There's not a little tiny yappy thing that just looks stupid on a lead. And just get a dog that's just get a dog that's your mate, not a poncy little Yorkie or fluffy Westie or something. Oh, I can't stand small dogs. Oh, I can't stand them. I love dogs, but not little dogs. I love big. If you're going to get a dog, get a big daft dog. That's what you want. Even if it's a Heinz 57 random mutt, as long as it's a big daft muppet, that's all you want. You want a big daft mate. Everybody in life should have a big daft mate, and most of us probably have at some point had what we'd describe as a big daft mate. The other kind of mate that's, bless him, he tries really hard, but he's not the smartest. And he'll always be the one, if you say, let's do this daring thing, and you'll always be able to say, well, you go first. And he'll go, okay. You always want a big daft mate. And when we get to our age, that's probably going to be a dog. So get yourself a big daft dog. You want a big daft dog. You don't want some yappy little pointless snappity Westie Yorkie nonsense, crappy little handbag dog nonsense. It's a proper dog. And if you like handbag dogs, just get a goddamn bigger handbag that can fit a normal sized dog in it. Yeah, Chihuahua nonsense and all that kind of crud. No. His little peg that holds his arm on is about to snap off. There's a lot of snappity on these figures. I found that because this isn't the Games Workshop plastic. It is squishier, but it's more brittle. It's easier to snap things off. It seems easier that just the slightest pressure will make pegs and stuff snap off, which is kind of annoying. It's sort of just coming off there. Look, I'm going to try and glue it back on quickly with. I'm going to use. And I'm going to use. I know what I'm going to use. For the first time ever, I'm going to use my quick setting extra thin. Dad, I'm not using the dad device. I know, but it's because I'm only going to use it for one thing. I've not used this yet. I'm going to see if it will rescue me. It's quick setting to me extra thin. Like there. God, that stinks. Holy crap, that stinks. Whoa! Put the lid on that. Jesus. Wow! Wow, that's... Oh, wow, that's harsh, that stuff. Good God. Oh. I've never used it before. That's the quick setting stuff. That smells more like proper strong tet. Or mech, whatever it's called. Because this stuff... normal, regular, extra thin, oddly, is actually kind of a pleasant smell. It's still not a smell you want to smell a lot of, but it's kind of pleasant. I can't read the ingredients on this. Wow, that's going to get minimal use, that stuff. Gee whiz. I think if I was using that fast setting cement on a whole model, I'd have to wear a mask, a respirator. Oh, blimey, right, what are we doing in chat? I work in an IT call centre, says Justin Norman, so I feel the pain. Yeah, 30 years in telecoms call centres I had. So aside from 3 or 4 years working in social care housing alarm call centres, which was actually quite rewarding and valuable. Other than that, 20 years of, well, 5 years in the government working, I take it back, booking driving tests. That was kind of fun because the people there were cool. Early 90s, no one really cared. Casual dress, you could work in your full grunge outfit if you want. So that was all right. 4 or 5 years of that, a couple of years of social housing support. But the rest of it, I worked for 9X, NTL, Cable and Wireless. Cable and Wireless, who then became NTL. 9X that became Cable and Wireless, that then became NTL, that then became Virgin. So them four: Cable and Wireless, 9X, NTL, Virgin. At the same time, because they all just changed hands, and a little bit of Mercury Telecoms because they merged together with NTL. Then I worked for a company called Unicom, who then became Veristar. I worked for a company that sold credit check systems to businesses, and it was like an old Alcatel, so I can't remember what they're called now. Or Alcatel system. And that was a garbage because I'm not a salesman, I don't do sales. Bad move. I had what else did I do? I worked for one company that does again, jumping into a job that was nothing to do with anything that I gave a crap about. I went to work in a place that did I can't remember. I think I blanked it out. When you want to apply for you don't want to go into bankruptcy. You want somebody tell me in chat what it's called. You don't go bankrupt, but you do a thing where you can pay back your creditors with an agreed amount. You get a report done, and it says you can afford to liquidate your assets and pay all your creditors this much a month, and all your creditors line up and they all get told a different amount each month, rather than if you go bankrupt and everybody's screwed. I started off in a job where I was doing admin, taking the proposals from the financial guys and just spell checking them and making sure they made sense and all the maths added up. And then they got me a job actually drafting those things. And that was the worst thing, because I'd have to phone up the person that was in financial difficulty, the business. There was businesses. And go through all their expenses and everything and then draft it all. And it was like, you know what? I had no interest in that. I hated every minute of it. And I was working from like 9 in the morning till 10 at night. Even though everybody else wasn't. And it was one of those environments where it was like, you need to just get all this done. You can't go home till you're finished. And in the end, I was like, you know what? Screw that. So I walked out. Blair Endersby, they were called. I think Blair Endersby. Something like that. I don't know. Financial advisors, consultants or something. That was garbage. I think there's been other jobs, but I kind of blanked a lot of them out. I worked for a while for a couple of guys I knew. Bizarrely, selling. Well, I worked for a company for a little while. I left one job, and I got a job with a couple of guys that I knew from the job I was in that had just left. They left earlier, and they're working for a company's name I can't remember now. And they sold basically buy-to-let mortgages, buy-to-rent. They basically buy a load of properties in some building construction thing in some country somewhere, and then they'd sell those to people that wanted to buy them to then let them out for the buy-to-let market. So they'd basically get people, while buildings were under construction in various foreign countries, they'd go and they'd sell them to their regular pool of clients who would buy all these things, and they'd buy, like, you know, these people might have like hundreds of properties that they let out and make a fortune. And the company was, at that point, that's what they did. The two guys I knew, they were phoning all these people up saying, hey, do you want to get some more properties? I started off just putting together a spreadsheet of all the clients. I was quite glad not to be in the financial stuff. But then it got really weird, because the company that we're working for were completely corrupt as anything. They were corrupt as F. They were just crooked, bent as anything. So the two guys I were working with, it got to the point where we hadn't had paychecks for a month, and they kept missing paychecks and getting late. And we're like, something's going on here. Something's not right. So the two guys that I knew from my previous job that said, come and work with us, because I was desperate for a job, they basically set up their own company while working for this other company, doing the same thing, but kind of took the same client list. Not going to mention any names here, obviously reasons, but they basically set up their own thing, selling to the same people as a different company, because it was fairly obvious at this point the company we were working for was about to go belly up. The owners were about to basically walk off with the money and go and buy a yacht or something. It was fairly straightforward. So at this point, I'm sat in an office putting together a spreadsheet of clients for the first company, but under instructions to basically just pad it out as long as I can. And if the big bosses come in, just look like I'm working on that. And then when they're not there, just start getting that list of clients for the other company we've just set up and start selling different stuff to them. And it was like, I left that in the end because it was too much shenanigans going on. But yeah, that was weird. And eventually the company they were working for went bust. So I think they carried on doing that for a bit and then went off and did something else. But it was kind of fun because the guys we were working with were awesome. The two fellas I left my job to go and work for them, they were really good guys. So it was a good laugh. It was probably corrupt as anything. I didn't know anything about the finance world. I didn't know interest in that. I was just desperate for a job. I was just doing admin. It was so fun. When I look back on it and realise what we've been doing, I'm like, wow, that was awesome. Hilarious. Hilariously corrupt. Anyway, that was like 15 years ago, 12 years ago. I also worked for a company that did... what else did I do? I worked for a company that was basically a call centre for an estate agent. Well, it did two things. It was a company called Home Track. And there was a company called, I can't remember what they're called, a different company name. And this company had two sides to it. One was a company called Home Track. I think they're still going. A company called Home Track, where basically they would survey UK estate agents every month. They'd give them all calls, fill out a survey, and then publish data on the UK housing market for investors and things like that. So, they'd look at, where the market was doing well and been deflated and all this kind of stuff. And the other part of the company was it would do the call handling for an estate agency called Hamptons in London. And it was the same company, but two completely separate, unconnected parts of the same company. They did two different things. It was like, it's like having ABC Corporation is Google and a lot of other companies. They're all different and separate, but they're all under the same umbrella. So at first I was just doing call handling for Hamptons estate agents in London. I was in Manchester. We're based up in Northwest. And it was so funny talking to all, because this was people, booking appointments and calling in for Hamptons estate agents, and they're looking at multi-million-pound houses. And here's us sat in up here in the Northwest, like laughing at these guys. And that was actually quite good fun. I didn't care about the job, but the people I was working with were good. That was good fun. We made it fun. Then after a little while, I moved from that side to go to work to Home Track, do the surveys. And again, that was good. It was hard work. Reed's estate agents were a nightmare to get the survey out every month. God, they were a pain. That was okay. But it got to the point where, for example, the estate agency bit, you'd have people calling in on Christmas Eve. Because we used to work up till about Christmas Eve. You'd have people calling in saying, can I book an appointment for next Tuesday to go and see a property? And it'd be like, what? Can I book an appointment? And you'd be like, next Tuesday's Christmas Day. And they'd be like, yeah, but I want to go and see this house. And it was like, do you really think the owner of this house is going to want you wandering around their house on Christmas Day? It's like, people with money, sometimes they can be exceptionally stupid. That was funny. That was alright. That job was alright. I had to leave it for a particular reason at the end, which I won't go into. Again, some things are not for public consumption. That was a good job. Doodle-doo-doo. What else have I done over the years? All little bits and bobs here. I did me detailing for a few years. That wasn't really anything I wanted to be in. I wasn't doing that because I wanted to do it. That was on the back of just doing... I worked for a friend who we had a retail store, did detailing stuff. And I was looking after the social media side, the Twitter, the Facebook and stuff and emails. And that's where I started out. But then when that went out of business, we just did detailing. Because we did detailing as well as the retail side of it. Selling detailing products. And when that went bust, we just carried on with the detailing. But I was never really interested in that. It kind of went in a direction where I was like, I don't really want to be doing detailing, thanks. It's not really what I was into. I moved on from that. And then I started this. Yay! I can't think what else I've done. Other little weird odd jobs here and there. But I will admit to being so old and forgetful now that there are times when I have a dream, maybe that I'm dreaming I'm in an office doing something, and it gets to the point where I'm like, I'll be thinking about my old jobs and think, hey, did I actually work there? Or was that a dream I had once about working in a particular office? Or there's a couple of things where I've sat there and I've been for an interview. I remember like there's one place I went for an interview once. And I literally went there for an interview and then never worked there. But then I must have at some point had a dream about the interview in that office. Because many years later I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, did I work there or did I just have an interview there? I can't remember. I remember this room and this people, and I remember, did I work there? Yeah, I'm getting to that age now where it's like, job, or was it a job or was it an interview? I can't quite remember. Yeah. It's like cheese or font, job or interview. I made his arm pop there. Right, that is them done. It's time to have a look at the chat. See what's going on with you guys. Yeah, so it's like, when you get to my age, it really is job or interview. I can't remember how bad it is. Right, so that is my Chaos Cultist done. 2 empty sprues to go in the trash. 10 dudes. That's simple. They'll be fun to paint because they've got like weapons and cloaks and stuff. So that'll be good fun painting them. Let's have a look at chat though. What's chat doing? I'm getting a big coffee ready. You do have access to Team Inept YouTube account there, you daft bugger. Oh yeah, well there is that. You can trust me. Raging Bassist. Actually, we'll go back to a week last Thursday. I got all the ironing and we watched Catch Up TV. We won't see the like of those days again. Yeah, you won't need to do ironing for a while, mate. Edward Leonard is back. He's been making a birthday cake for his grandson. He's 18 today. Well, happy birthday to your grandson. Happy birthday, unnamed grandson. Do I hear an echo, says Eric. Go, echo, echo. I would only go back, says Muse, if I could have knowledge I do now about certain things. Yeah, you'd assume that you go from now and you just travel back in time as intact as you are now. You wouldn't be going back to when you were that age. I wouldn't mind going back in time to expand on that, because I said I wouldn't want to go back in time because every time period has been rubbish and depressing. I wouldn't want to go back in time unless I could go back in time as an observer and be guaranteed I could come back, because I'd love to go back. I would love to go back and see what the world was really like when I was that little, in the 70s or 80s. But as me now, to go back in time to just observe. Because I think about things like, what did the bathroom used to look like when I was a kid before it was done up, and what was it really like, and it's weird. I'd like to go back and just experience the world. What was it like when I was a little kid? My only knowledge of the outside world at night time was when I'd look out my bedroom window as a little kid and I'd see it was all dark and I'd see a street light and it was trees rustling and I'd be like, oh, darkness, monsters. Of course, now I'm walking home from the pub, at 11 at night and it's dark and I don't care. I'd love to go back and see what nighttime on my street was like in the 70s, because I don't know. I was a kid, it was all monsters. I was scared of the dark. Muse says, well, I now have a Molotov Chrome unintentionally decanted. Oh, that's the pen you knackered then, was it? Yeah. Nim says to Edward, tell him happy birthday from all of us and get him a model. Either will do, the model of the plastic kind or, whichever way you want to send it. He'd be happy for either, to be honest. Thanks, Nim. I will. I got them all one for Christmas, and last week we started working on them finally. Yeah. I go back to the 80s so I can finish that sentence. I go back to the 80s so I could take my dad out for a pint before he snuffed it, says Sean. Oh, sorry to hear that, dude. It's a bit late, obviously, for me to say that, but yes. Justin Norman says, exactly, Fox did 5 years in the US Marine Corps, so that's part of it. Nim would like to go back to the 1910s and be a suffragette, or the 40s and see our country actually pulling together on something. Yeah, you won't see that happening again. Raging Bassist says, I am the big daft mate. Yeah, we'll give you that one. Tomcat181, good afternoon, model making guru and everyone. Hope all is well. Have my Sinanji Stein on my bench and my McDonald's in my belly. Good girl, I like that. You've missed me building some dudes. I've got these dudes finally finished. My camera appears to have moved. Hello, what's that about? Nobody told me the camera had moved. Has the camera moved or have I moved? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I've moved the iPad. I don't know. Let's have a look. Anyone else wondering, out of Chris and Fox, which one does Dad consider to be the big daft mate? Yeah. Yeah, that glue is vile, but it works, says Muse. It certainly glued that peg back on his arm. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be opening that bottle for more than a few seconds without wearing a respirator. Holy cow. I have a sausage dog. My wife fell in love with her 6 years ago, says Stephen Ware. Oh, it's your wife's dog then. There you go. Lets you off. Sean Wiles rushes out to buy quick setting extra thin. David Sanderson, I did my first temporary job at Cable and Wireless in Bagley in 1997 and 1998. I was at Cable and Wireless in Bagley in 1997 and 1998. We were working in the same office, dude. What were you doing? I was customer service. And then I was queue manager for a bit. And then I was doing for a while I was doing like the annual leave and sickness stats and stuff in the force, what was it called? Force level department, working at schedules and stuff. So your crappy schedules and getting time off denied, that was my fault. I did that. Muse says, that's the first. The nib in this pen is split in half and I have chrome all over my hands. Lol. You can pretend you're in some kind of 1960s sci-fi series, like UFO or something. IVA, involuntary, something voluntary, some agreement, says Osric. Yes, it was an IVA. Yes, you had as a business, you had a choice, or as a consumer even, you had a choice. You either go bankrupt, and therefore your creditors get nothing, but you can't be a director again for another 7 years and 1 day, or you do an IVA, which is where you say, I'm going bankrupt, but I'm going to do a credit agreement so that basically I owe X amount of money, here's all the creditors. If you're a creditor, you need to register, and then we'll take all the money that's available and we'll dish it out to you in bits. You might not get everything back, but you'll get something back. But that way the person can go off and become a director again a lot quicker than if you go bankrupt when you can't be a director for another 7 years. I can't really remember that. And I used to draft those agreements, and it was absolutely dry nonsense. I couldn't stand it. Like doing a job that you don't care about at all. It's drivel. Basis says, do you want to hear my stupid story when I worked for a government switchboard for HMRC? Yeah, we want stupid stories. How long have you been coming into the chat on my streams? Stupid stories are what we do. Okay, so I might read ahead of myself in case I say anything I shouldn't say here. As an ex-civil servant, I too signed the Official Secrets Act. I got an internal call answered switchboard. The woman goes, can you put me through to this extension? I politely say, that's where you're calling from. He says, yes, I know, I want to see who picks up. Ah. Oh, so you want to see if it's on divert? No, it's not. I want to see who will answer. I calmly say, it will go to busy because you're calling me from it. This went on for 10 minutes. I put her through and it says, the line's busy. Would you like to hold? She says, yes. Stayed on hold for 30 minutes and I still tried to tell her that no one will pick up. My HMRC story. Yeah. We used to have, I used to book driving tests. And the beauty of it was, for 5 years, the beauty of it was that I started off doing normal, Bob Smith learning how to drive a car. The beauty of it was that there was one department in the government that did that. You couldn't go somewhere else to get your driving test. So we could turn up in whatever we wanted to wear. Management didn't give a crap. I turned up in like combat boots, combat pants, biker jacket, long hair down to my butt. Nobody cared. And if you finished all your work by like lunchtime, you'd just run around the office being idiots. And then I did heavy goods tests for a while. Same thing, booking them, but for heavy goods schools. Basically, schools that wanted to teach people how to drive lorries and trucks, they would book tests through us, and it's the same thing. And some of the heavy goods schools were like, oh dear Lord, they were terrible. I can't remember any of the names, I wouldn't say them anyway, but there was one school who basically was a right shifty geezer. He was like, right scummy, scabby bloke. He was horrible. I think his name was Lee something. And all his trucks were like old and absolutely knackered. They weren't supposed to be on the road. And the guy was scummy as anything. Real scrope. Real thick. He wasn't very smart at all. And he'd give you loads of abuse over the phone. If somebody failed, or if a test got cancelled or whatever, any reason he wasn't happy, especially if somebody failed the driving test, the heavy goods test, he'd come up and give us abuse over the phone. But one thing he never seemed to realise was, back in those days, a lot of the heavy goods testing centres where you go to do your test to can I be qualified as a heavy goods driver, A lot of those testing centres shared the building with the I can't remember what they're called now, the heavy goods testing centre where they actually test the vehicles, like the MOT for trucks. I can't remember what they were called now. Anyway, so what you do is you'd have people going into their driving test for their truck driving test. The examiners would test them and whatever. But you'd also have the guys that were there to test vehicles to make sure they were roadworthy. And anybody that operated a heavy goods vehicle had to take the vehicles there for roadworthiness. And what we do, we knew this guy's trucks were all old and crap. So what we do is we just phone up the vehicle place and we'd be like, if he phoned up and gave us a load of crap for, say, somebody failed their test, and we were like in a kind of screw it mode, we'd be like, phone up the vehicle testing centre. We'd be like, hi Dave, yeah, he's just called in, come down about a test. He's got a test coming up in half an hour. You want to just give his vehicle a pull and make sure it's roadworthy? Cheers. Every time he gave us abuse on the phone, we'd do that. And every time he'd get his truck pulled, the test would be cancelled. He'd have to give the customer their money back or owe them money. And the vehicle would invariably fail because it was so bad. But he was so stupid, he never figured it out. We do it every single time. And he still gives abuse the next time somebody failed the test. You get small victories in your workplace sometimes. However, I can't deny that when I was a young kid, and I was going to secondary school, the first time I went to secondary school on a train, I walked to my local train station. It's the first time I've been on a train by myself. Because I've never had to get on a train. I could get the bus into town, I was fine. I walked into the train station and said, I'd like a return, please, to wherever I was going. I'd like a return to X. Not going to say where I was going. I'd like a return, please, ticket to X. And the guy behind the counter... No, I walked in and I said, I'd like a return ticket, please. And the guy behind the counter was like, yeah, where are you going? Where do you want to return to? And I said, well, back to here, please. I was like 13 and I hadn't got a clue. So I've done that. I've been the dumb customer. I'd like a return, please. Where to? Well, back here. Ugh. What's the soup of the day? What's the soup du jour? It's the soup of the day. Brilliant. I'll have 2 of those. David Sanders was inputting customer data for changing TV packages. Oh, you're on the tech side. Cool. I never would have seen you then, probably. Timinep says, talking of changing customer packages, public service announcement. I've no idea if this is true or not. He says, if anyone here has Sky Sports, you can pause your subscription to the sport channels until they resume. Live sport channels are still watchable too. Cool. Osric says, I work for a bank and we're working from home for next week, taking calls from customers at home, not looking forward to it. I did apply for a customer service job once where I would have been working for Sky Customer Services from home through a third-party company. And I actually had a phone line installed and they sent me the turret, like the little base station with a headset. I had broadband installed because I only had dial-up at that point. I had physical broadband installed so I could run their operating system. And I nearly started it, but at the end of it, I think I got a different job somewhere else and was like, right, I've got to cancel now. But then they never asked for the hardware back, so I had a phone turret for a long time. That was in the early days of teleworking, really in the early days. Been answering calls from home for over a week, says Justin. In my PJs, and I love it. Been working on my model area and stuff while I'm at it. Yeah, if you do customer service calls from home, you can work butt naked and nobody will know. You could sit there answering calls about whatever and you could be butt naked and they wouldn't have a clue. Nim Cinderin says, my Wendy's has come, so nom times. Take care, Nim. See you later, buddy. Enjoy your noms. I assume you're going off to eat them unless you're still watching and just telling us, just rubbing it in that you've got noms. We want a picture in the boom hut, by the way. Team Inept says, it's true, I did it earlier. What, doing business calls in the nudes? I've never been on a train before, says Rascal's Hobbies, and I'm 45, lol. Chris says, don't be naked for video calls. Yeah, you have to consider if it's a video call. Never answer a mobile phone naked unless you're absolutely sure it's not a video call. In fact, I actually did, I seem to remember at one point I had to do a phone interview for a job. I don't know why, but I applied for a job at the General Medical Council. I don't know, just admin work. Hey, one of my extra random ones. And I had to do a phone interview, and it was at some stupid nonsense time, like 7:30 in the morning. So I totally did my phone interview, like completely butt naked, because I literally got out of bed, phoned the number, did my phone interview, and went back to bed. And the woman that called the next day said, that was the best phone interview we've ever done. I'm like, cool. I didn't take. I got the job, but I didn't take it in the end. Again, I think something else came up. But yeah, so I did a phone interview for the General Medical Council, but naked. Tomcat says, I'm a design engineer for a company that makes industrial gearboxes for the oil mining and even the US military. I'm still stuck going to work, which I can do. Alright, well, it's a vital job though, isn't it? So we have to give salute to our friends that work in vital areas there. They have to keep working because it's not easy ask. It's not an easy ask at all. Oh, well, which I can do at home, he says. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I just hope that. Why'd you have to bring that up, Gross? I'm now worried about it, says Justin Norman. Now I'm worried about what Fox is wearing. A t-shirt and a shirt and pants and socks and glasses and hair. I've got an iPad here. I have to assume that there's always reflections. I can't take any risks. Yeah, we turn the iPad off and you'll see. You might see. No, you can just see the desk. You can't quite see, but it's just clothes, dude. I don't stream butt naked. That's just wrong. I wouldn't do that because you never know. One little reflection in the wrong place, and suddenly my YouTube career is over. Yeah. I have to obviously hope that in these trying times, like I said earlier on at the start, I know a lot of you out there. Our hobby is one that we're quite an insular hobby, and you do find just by default that a lot of people in this hobby tend to be more, not all of them, not all of you, but a lot of you are. You're more insular, you're more comfortable in your own company, you're more happy spending time at the bench and away from the outside world. I, for one, am one of those people that, aside from the people I know and care about, and aside from you guys, I kind of despise most of my own species, let's be honest. You guys are different. But I'm happy to sit at my desk and not go outside. And I think with our hobby, that's a more prevalent thing. So, although I said earlier on about a lot of you guys will be, a lot of you are older and maybe have underlying conditions anyway, so you're going to be in the at-risk status. You're already going to be self-isolating. A lot of us will be in this. It's also a very expensive hobby, so there are a big chunk of you out there who are in well-paid jobs that have to keep doing those well-paid jobs because they're essential. So we can't do anything but thank you guys, whoever you may be, whether you're, emergency services or, anything. It could be medical, you could be police, fire, ambulance, could be armed forces, you could be a delivery driver. Delivery drivers right now, they're the heroes right now. Things like delivery drivers alongside medical staff and everything else. You never thought you'd say that, but your Amazon driver or your local chemist delivery driver who are taking the risk going from house to house to house, they're taking that big risk, don't forget. They're heroes just as much. I don't know, but I lost my point halfway through there, so I was going to make a really good point and I forgot, so never mind. Watching on big screen sees reflection, goes blind. Hopefully he's not wearing that mankini that Chris sent him. That mankini has and will never be worn by anybody. Ever. Unless, some rather attractive female person was in my presence and offered to wear it, in which case I'm not going to say no to that. No male will ever wear that. Raging Basis says, my dad has just decided that after we sort out the garden, we can start working on clearing out a shed for my hobby space. Woohoo! Awesome. Avoid chrome teapots in the shop. Yeah, no, yeah. So many years ago, some of you might not know this, but many years ago, when in the old days, when everything was black and white and when eBay was new, us old folks remember this. There was a big sort of craze for about a couple of years. And the craze was to sell something on eBay that was reflective. Things like, metal teapots. I don't mean like mirrors. I mean like non-mirror basics of shiny metal teapots or anything that was reflective, but there wasn't a mirror. Because the craze was to take a photograph of the thing you were selling, but to be naked when you took the photograph and make sure that somewhere you were in the reflection clearly as a naked person. I never did it. It became this thing, and it was always, you have to keep it really simple, really subtle. I mean, so you'd have a reflective teapot or I don't know, something, and if you studied it long enough, you'd be like, hang on, there you go. There'd be little tiny speck in the photograph would be the bloke taking the photo or the woman taking the photograph. It just became a thing for about a year and a half. People taking photographs, selling shiny things purely for the fact of getting themselves naked on eBay without being spotted. Weird things that people do. Scale model Muse. I'm pretty selective about my chosen family, and I don't mind the quiet time. My normal life has too much static. Now everyone can wonder about my stream tonight, says Chris. Yes. So when Chris was a wee lad, because he's just old now, says Eric Graham. Fox protests about the Mankini too much, says Quano Man. I suspect he sits in it watching Jar Jar clips on the YouTube. One of you's got a banhammer. Come on. I am, it's true, says Chris. He is what, too old, or what you were a wee lad? I don't know. Right, so we've got those guys done. There we go. I'm going to put them to one side. Now I've just pulled them from over there. I'll put them back again. I don't know why I brought them over here, because I've got to put them back now. Should we see what's next? Because we've got an hour. We've got 45 minutes. Shall we see what's next on the things to build? Hemotrope reactors! Hemotrope! So there's the hemotrope reactor. Then after the hemotrope reactor, we've got Typhus. Then after Typhus, we have alchemite pipes. And then some space marine reinforcements. So I think what we should do, I don't particularly want to do the Typhus right now. Oh, I might do Typhus. Maybe I can do Typhus. That's a good 45 minutes of work. So I can do Typhus, or I can do the hemotrope reactor. I might leave all this unit till the very end, to be honest. So I think we'll go for what's after that, which is, of course, Typhus. Chris is off. I'm off to sort food. I'll catch you later, everyone. Take care, Chris. See you later, buddy. Perry Singer says, Europe. Hey, Perry. Welcome, welcome. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'll leave all the senior ones to the end, because they're a bit of a pain to work with anyway. And they're big. I'll do Typhus. I'd have to, if I'm doing something big like scenery, I've got to move the camera around. So let me go and get Typhus out of the box. Hang on. What issue is he? Is issue 54? Where's my box? There's my box. Oh, you are. Issue 54. Yeah, it's issue 54. There we go. Is that issue 54? No, that's issue... Might be 54. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Is it 54? Yes. Right on the top it was. Kick ass. Ooh, there we go. Lovely. Lovely. Typhus. There we go. This should fill a good half an hour, 45 minutes. If he doesn't do the bikes, I'm going to send him a box for Christmas on his birthday, whichever comes first. Brrr. I will do the bikes, but I'm going to leave them to the very, very end because I hate them and I don't want to make them. They'll get left to the very end. Right, so this is issue 54. So we're going to write that on the bottom of the base. 54. Typhus. This is more just for... I don't know why I do this. I started off when I was putting them all in one big box when I was following the magazine because I needed to know if I'm going to paint all the dudes from, say, issue 32, I need to make sure I can get them out of the box and see which is which. I'm not doing that now, but I think it's easy just to have them there. I think it's also so that I can know if I look at this and it says Typhus, I can get the data card, because I wouldn't necessarily remember this is Typhus, but if I look at the base, oh, it's Typhus, I can get the data card for Typhus if I play him, if I get round to playing him. Let's have a quick look at chat. Bikes, build the bikes, Fox. Aren't there any Stabity, right? There's been no Stabity. Dad says, hi and welcome, Models for Heroes. Have we had Models for Heroes? Oh yeah, Models for Heroes. Hello everyone, beautiful sunny day today. Welcome, Models for Heroes. Thank you for coming along. It is rather nice. I've got the window open and everything. Well, I had the window open until the yappity dog from next door but one made itself apparent. And somehow didn't die in a horrible industrial accident. So I've closed the window again now. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming along. Welcome, welcome. Let's have a look. What's chat doing now? Lee Eagles, hi. Welcome, Lee. Do the bikes while you have moral support, Fox, says Dad. No. I'll leave them to the very, very bitter, I mean really bitter end. And I may even do them off camera because, trust me, when it comes to the bikes, I'm going to be so grumpy when I have to make those. So grumpy. Basis says, but if you do them first, they're done and out of the way. No. And now is not the time for me to do something that's going to make me grumpy. And it's good for you guys. It's not good for me, though. You like watching me be grumpy, I know. Yeah. Muse says, well, truck interior is done. Painting tiny things with a brush hurts the eyes. Yes. Have you not got a space helmet of seeing, dude? You need a space helmet of seeing. Ray says, hello, my friend, Model for Heroes. I'm from Malta. Yeah, we love Ray. Ray's from Malta. Eric Graham says, no, Dad, we just want him to suffer, curse, and flail. Dad says, exactly. Yeah. Basie says, okay, separate live stream just for the bikes. Like an after dark where I can do the swearing and it's not monetized. Yeah, no. They'll be left to the very end. Right, anyway, let's get some instructions on the go. So we are building Typhus. Typhus is the Herald of Nurgle, which is quite good for right now, being we're in the midst of the chocolate Velociraptor 19 pandemonium. Nearly said something else then. Pandemonium, YouTube pandemonium, I said. Pandemonium. Yeah. If you have just joined us in the last hour or so, by the way, even if you weren't here at the start, do keep in mind that YouTube are demonetizing some video content where they are directly addressing the current medical chocolate Velociraptor 19 pandemonium. So please do not use the obvious keywords in the chat, the CV and the P words and other things like that. Keep your comments vague and nebulous so their algorithms can't grab onto them and take all my money away, because that would suck. Hence chocolate Velociraptor 19. Don't poke the fox, says Nim. I remember when they came out and they were amazing, and the new freshness, says Raging Bassist. I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, the bikes. Yeah, what, in like 1992? Mew says, I do have the space helmet and all sorts of magnifying thingies, but it's my sight in general that's shot. I need the glasses then. Close up hurts. I'm not denying that. I'm not disagreeing with you, actually. To be honest, close up does hurt. Trying to read the instructions on the back of a food packet to put it in the microwave, and they're always in tiny molecular sized fonts. It's like, oh. Right, what am I doing? No idea. I need to do a face, apparently. I've got to make a face first. And we actually get number parts on this. So 1 and 2. Ooh, I like that face mask. Ooh. I'm going to zoom. You won't see it, I don't think, if I zoom in, but I'm going to zoom in for you anyway. You won't see this, and it'll be out of focus. But I like that face mask. That one there under my finger. Got a certain 3M quality to it. 7500 series half face mask. Yeah, I like that. Right, zooming back out again because I'm supposed to. There we go. Yes, welcome her Models for Heroes. You won't see one of these before, but if you haven't, basically I sit here for 3 hours and waffle and do a little bit of building. So far, the chat have managed to get me to grumble and grouse about everything. They've got me on a moan fest. They seem to know how to get me to get grumpy about things. They like it when I go off on one about something. So we've had that, and I built a series of little dudes so far. Not all today, obviously. If you weren't here earlier on, or if you're new to the stream, because we've got some new people in there today, I'm currently working my way slowly through my Warhammer Conquest part work backlog. If you don't know what Warhammer Conquest is, it is a part work from Hachette, in which you can, over the course of 100 issues, build the Bismarck. No, that's the wrong one. You can build up, over the course of 100 issues, 2 Warhammer 40k armies. A Death Guard army, which is these green guys. Various Plague Marines and other dudes. And also a Space Marine army that you can fight against. And you get all the stuff in the part work to also allow you to play the game as well. You can put both armies against each other. You get all the data cards and dice and some scenery items as well. And if any of you out there have never made any Warhammer, but you've had thoughts about it, or if you're into Warhammer, and you'd like to maybe, you've been making some kits and you maybe think to yourself, I'd like to actually get an army built up and start playing the game, but I don't, it's dead expensive. This whole set is a massive discount. Quite get the knife around there. Basically, if you were to go into the shop and buy all the models that come in this part work, you'd pay about £1,000, about 1,100 quid. The figures aren't going to be exact, so about 1,100-1,200 quid to run the farm for all the models and scenery and everything else. However, if you do the part work over the course of 2 years or a year and a half, it comes out to about 800 quid over the course of a year and a half. A few extra bits here and there. So it's not cheap, but you are getting a load of Games Workshop plastic for a lot less. It is actually immense value for money. But obviously you want to be... You obviously want to have at the end of it a couple of armies that you can then play. You don't have to play, you can just build them for the sake of building them, but a lot of money. But if you're looking to get into the Warhammer hobby, it's a great way to get started if you're made of money. Being texted. What have I done, Dad? 80 issues. Did I say 100 issues? Why am I thinking 100 issues? It's 80 issues. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, I don't know why I said 100 issues. I'm being a spoon, aren't I? Build up as you go, love Death Guard. Text him, Dad. 80 issues. Lewis Williamson. My wife likes my hobby because I can't wind up the kids at the same time and I'm out of her way. Aye. There are women in this hobby legals. There was a comment removed, so I don't know what was said. Yeah, this hobby's for everybody. There are, in fact, even as we speak, ladies in the chat right now. You may not realise it, but not everybody in this chat that you're talking to is a bloke. Yeah, blow your mind. Yeah. This hobby's for everybody. I know just as many women as I do men that do this hobby. And it's all awesome. Oops. And for some reason I've now got Bellathor in my head going, everything's for sale. Right, so I've made a face. About to make it run. I've got a nub on his helmet there. Helmet nub. That don't want to say that again. Something I don't want to say out loud. I heard a scream from outside. Maybe somebody's dropped an anvil on that yappity dog from next door but one. I can but hope. I love dogs, I just don't love that dog. But we won't go through all that again. Oops. I love that word, said Muse. What word? Did we say a word? Jobbity? Lady? I don't listen to what I say. Of all the people that listen to me, I'm not one of them. I just let the words come out and then I just run away and deny any responsibility. Something on my desk is rattling. It's quite annoying. I'm fire and forget. My mouth is fire and forget. I'll say something and it's instantly gone out my brain. Doodly doo. Oh, bloke. You like that word bloke, says Muse. Good eye. Yes, you spelt it right, Muse. Bloke. Muse says, looks down. Nope, not a bloke. Wait, are you watching this naked? Oh dear. People are watching my streams naked. Lee says, mine hates me doing anything model related. Well, everybody should allow their partners to have some outlet that's nothing to do with their partner. Whether it's a man or a woman, doesn't matter. If your partner or significant other doesn't like what you do in your own spare time, then you just say, tough. Whether you're a bloke or a lady, doesn't matter. I'm sure your significant other does things that you don't like, but you don't stop her doing them. The police layer, what's that there? James says, an interesting interaction with a police lady. She said, they were wondering if we'd seen a person they were looking for, and I said, no, we're staying in due to chocolate velociraptors. She laughed and told another officer. Awesome. You know what would be great? Is if somehow now chocolate velociraptor 19 became the thing. Became a thing in the outside world. And I can sit there and I can say, I did that. That was me that did that. I made that up on my brain. Although it wasn't fully me, because somebody else in chat last night said chocolate vegetable, and that's where it came from. Who was that? It was whoever it was last night, I think, night before. Remind me who it was that said chocolate vegetable. Because somebody said chocolate vegetable. I misremembered it as chocolate velociraptor. And now everybody's famous. That'd be great. If we, like, 2 or 3 weeks time, we suddenly find like lots of like memes about chocolate velociraptor, it was me that did that. I did that. I created that. I made that with my brain. And I want all royalties to me. I need some tweezers for these tiny fiddly bits. I thought naked was obligatory, says Quano Man. It was me, says Osric. Yes. Well done, Osric. Foxy, I may be naked, says Muse. Very dear. I'm getting text messages while I'm trying to do fiddly things. Stop doing text messages while I'm trying to do fiddly things. I'm putting the 3M mask. I can't get it. I'm trying to put his 3M half 3/4 mask on his lack of face. Hang on. Oh. Fiddly bits. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't grip it without. There we go. Yeah. Who's the big man now? See, it's all fun and games till you step on some Lego. You're going nowhere now, are you? You're stuck there now, you are, aren't you? Yeah. Well, hard. You think you're hard, you're not. Right. What you're basically telling me is that half of you watching this are actually butt naked right now. Interesting. I may need to tailor my content for a slightly different audience then to maximise income revenue potentials. Right, what? Mike Mountain, read your text. I am now. Hang on. Oh, apparently somebody, Scoreman, just subscribed. Ooh, thank you very much, Dad. Thank you for subscribing, Scoreman. It didn't give me the notification on my end, and it's not on my actual list of things that happened. I've got my list set to show me subscriptions, but it doesn't. But thank you very much, Scoreman. Thank you, Dad. Let's have a look. Foxy Amineki, Mew says lol, works either way, says Nim. Chris would be like Hob My Beer Fox. Yeah. Lewis Williamson says his significant other, just hates the amount of money he spends on it. Lee says, my girlfriend is threatening to leave if I keep buying models. So what you do is you keep buying models and you find a different girlfriend. It's quite simple. Relationships is like a partnership. If a partner expects you to change to fit with their expectations, then it's not somebody you need to spend your life with. You need to find someone who accepts you as whatever you are. Sold as seen. Ideal relationship is that you both have your own interests when you get together, and that you both understand that those interests aren't suddenly going to go away, but that you can find new interests between you that you can both enjoy whilst maintaining the interests you already have. That's my opinion anyway. I could be wrong. I could be talking out my backside there, but that's the way I see it. I wouldn't personally. I've been in that. I mean, look, be honest. I've been in that situation before, and I've been like, "Oh, you don't like it? Okay, bye. See ya. This is who I am. This is what I do. If you don't like it, that's not my problem. I'm clearly not the right person for you. Goodbye." Doodle-doo. Especially when it's a situation where it's like, you can't go out and see your friends. I'm going to go out and see my friends. Really? Okay. Well, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out then. Bye. Yeah, it's a partnership. It's a balancing act. You've got to have your own things and also have things you can share. But to just not be happy with somebody's own things, out of order. It doesn't matter. That can go either way. You know, it could be a man or a woman. Doesn't matter. You should always respect each other's passions and preferences. Where's my knife? No going in. Sold as seen. I can't find. Where's me? There it is. Yeah, you don't buy a Ford Fiesta and then complain because it's not a Porsche. You buy a Ford Fiesta and you know it's a Ford Fiesta. You don't expect it to suddenly do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. If that makes sense. I have no patience for people like that. Love me, love who I am. The kitty snuggles on their own schedule, says Dan over at Miskatonic University podcast. See how I do the free pimps for people? I do free pimps for people. Yeah, the kitty snuggles on their own schedule. Oh yeah, kitty cats. You're not their master. If you ever believe that you're the master of a cat, you're an idiot. That's all you are. A dog loves you no matter who you are. A cat loves you when you're putting the food in its bowl, and then it's only whatever you expect that. It knows what you think love is, and it does that for you. As soon as you walk out of the room, it's like, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Make this happen again. You can turn the Fiesta into a Porsche. Yeah, by selling the Fiesta and buying a Porsche. Yeah. Fair comment, Fox, said Lee. Aye. I don't really like to get kind of on stuff about like that, but it's just one of those things. It's like there's got to be a bit of give and take in any partnership, which is what relationship is. There's got a bit of give and take between the two people. As long as you find a common ground that you can both share, then really anything else is golden. It's always the way I've approached it. It's like, look, I've got the things I like to do, and you've got the things you like to do. Now there is a certain bit of give and take both ways, because of course, I accept that. If I was getting into a relationship, I said I've got the things I like to do. Not right now. I'm single. I'm happily single. I intend to be single forever, but I would spend 12 hours a day at the bench if I wanted to. I could quite happily do that. However, if then there's somebody else got involved, I couldn't do that. And there's some give and take, I would say, okay, well, I've got my thing I like to do, and I can sit there all day and do it, but we've got a partnership going on here now. We've got a relationship going on. I can't do that. So fair play. I will not spend all day every day at the bench or playing video games. I will dedicate time to you, to you as my partner or wife or husband or whatever. I will dedicate time to you, and we'll share that time, and that's our together time. And I will have less time doing my thing, because when I have more time doing our thing, but on the condition that I still have my time doing my thing, and you can have your time doing your thing. It's how you balance it out. It's a give and take. You get to keep what you're doing, but there is a certain responsibility. You can't do it all the time anymore, because we're not teenagers anymore. You have to accept, yeah, I can't spend every minute I'm not at work doing that. So there is that, and I'm sure you do that anyway. And I hope I'd just say talk about it. If that's the situation, I say talk about it. Have a proper conversation, because that's a sad state of affairs. It's almost intolerance, and it's not right. I'm sure it can be resolved. It's just how you couch it, how you talk about it, how you couch it. All relationship advicey there. I didn't mean to do that. Not like me at all. I'm the last person to give that kind of advice. Yeah, so I'd say talk about it, Lee. Discuss it openly. There's got to be give and take. I mean, if you're spending if you're from 9 a.m. on Saturday till 9 p.m. on Sunday at your bench, yeah, that might be a bit out of order, maybe, because then that's like, hello. If you're at work all week, every day, all day during the week, then yeah, okay, that's probably a bit. She's got a point there then, because there's no couple time. There's just you time. So you got to balance it out. That's one of the reasons I'm quite happy single, because I want all the time for me. I'm far too selfish. Dogs have owners, cats have staff, says Eric. Yes. I have had precisely 0 model mojo this afternoon, says Paul at Team Inept. Then go and play some games, dude. Get a Skyrim going. Muse says, new brand of paint on the bench with a great name, Turbo Dork. I like that. Oh, I like that. Power Burke. It's like the American version of Power Burke. Turbo Dork. Dan agrees it's a great name. Mordraka says, just ended up assembling a plague bearer, so it looks like he's recoating his plague sword. A photo of it up in the boom hut. I shall take a look later. All metallic pelts too. I do ever get annoyed when a paint name has no indication of what the colour is, though. Most Games Workshop paint names annoy me. Yeah. It is kind of, it does get a bit silly after a while. Which is why I used to do the little pop-ups with the silly names on them. You know, Labia Mermaids. Knackered Allegro. Going back to Elite Dangerous, we were talking about hours ago. My Crate Mark II that I'm flying on to Sagittarius A-Star. The name of that plane, I named that ship after one of my made-up Citadel paint names, so it's the good ship Combatants Funk. If I remember correctly, the Combatants Funk is one of the deep dark blue colours, not ultramarine blue. One of the deep dark blue colours is Combatants Funk. Names on these are a bit odd, like Pearl Grey. Thanks, Fox. I will, thanks, Fox. I only do it on my free time when she's not here with me. In that case, yeah, that's a bit of give on her side then, in that case, I would say. I don't know the girl. I don't know the ins and outs. I can only advise on what I'm told, but if that's the case, if you're considerate enough just to do it when you're free and by yourself, then she shouldn't have an issue with that. I'm sure she does her own thing when you're not around, and she's got things she does and likes to do that you're not involved with. You should, just live and let live. This is where you tell me you've been married for like 35 years now, and you've got like 6 kids, and I'm like, oh, then I'll feel bad. Right, so we've put the head in the front body gefahren. Front and body gefahren mit the belly and a bit of the leg, yeah, crotch area. But now we need to attach the butt area, which does not appear to be a part. Oh yeah, got this bit. 4 and 3. Look at the numbers, Fox. They tell you where the part is. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. So there's 4. Long nippers. Yes, I appreciate. I'm trying to give advice there based on half the information, which is probably a bad idea. But if you're being considerate about it, then she's not really got the mileage to the grounds to complain too much. Because that's a case of what does it matter? If I'm doing it when you're not here, why is that a problem? It's got nothing to do with you. That is part number 3. Yee. Unless, of course, there's stuff you're supposed to be doing that you're not doing because you're doing this, and they go, yeah, back on you again. It's a nightmare. No, not married or kids. Been with her for almost 2 years. I'm sure that's all salvageable, dude. I'm kind of jesting a little bit. I think I'm jesting with it a little bit. Don't take this as genuine. I'm not really taking sides. I'm just having a bit of a laugh, really. But yeah, I'm sure it's salvageable. But if not, just find a chick that digs kits. Plenty of them around. I should maybe just start like a dating section on the Boom Hut. Perry Singer says, hi, have you got the Mortal Realms books? I'm not. Do you mean the part work or just the fiction Black Library type stuff? Either way, it's no. I'm not that familiar with the Age of Sigmar stuff. Sadly. I'm doing the Warhammer Conquest part work here for the 40k one. Mostly on the good graces of my very good friend and patron George, who's made it actually possible for me to subscribe. I was thinking about subscribing to this part work, but financial considerations meant I couldn't until George made it possible that I could. So this part work now is going to be split when it's finished and painted. The Space Marines will go to George, and the Death Guard will stay with me. But for the Sigmar one, I'm not that much into Sigmar, although I probably will do eventually get into Sigmar quite a bit because some of the models are beautiful. But I'm only new to this to the Warhammer hobby really, and it's 40k that floats my boat right now. So, but I do think that the troop selection for the Mortal Realms part work is not as interesting as Conquest, because you've got, just by virtue of it being Nighthaunt and Stormcast Eternals, you've got a whole mess of Stormcast Eternals who are kind of all much the same, and then you've got a whole load of Nighthaunt who are all kind of all the same, not that much variation. But on the other hand, the premium package benefits and bonuses in Warhammer Conquest are kind of not that great. You get some play cards and a play mat and some dice. Brilliant. If you're not playing the game, they're no use whatsoever. So the premium rewards for 40k Conquest are like not that brilliant, but the rewards for the Mortal Realms are fantastic. You get loads of extra plastic. If I remember rightly, you get little selections of minis from other factions in Age of Sigmar. So if you're into your Age of Sigmar, it's equally as good value as it is the 40k Warhammer Conquest, but I think you get a much better deal on the premium subscription, because you're probably getting about 100, I don't know, I'm going to guess a good couple of £100 worth of plastic just as your premium subscription extras. Whereas this, you get some playmats and some dice and some data cards. I mean, data cards are handy, don't get me wrong. If you play the game, they're going to be really handy to have the cards and not just go through bits of paper you've cut out of the magazines. But at the same time, yeah, if you don't play the game, if you're doing it just for the models, it's not that big a deal. But either's good, I'd say. But because I'm not into Sigmar, there are people that would love all those Nighthaunt and think they're brilliant. For me, they're just like, oh, it's like 100 ghosty dudes. They're not. It doesn't float my boat as much. Whereas, like, you know, 20 Plague Marines, a load of characters, some Pox Walkers and some cultists, lots of variation, all awesomeness, much more interesting to me. But the premium rewards are kind of bish. So there you go. I probably will do it eventually. I probably will get round to doing it, because, you know, partworks are a good way to get, if nothing else, and it sounds really mercenary, but partworks are a great way to generate content, because it means that I can have lots of content over a course of years without, you know, normally it's buy a kit, build a kit and paint a kit, you get a video or a little video series out of it. This stuff, you're paying for it over 2 years, and you can get years of content building and painting. I'm going to be doing these live streams for the Conquest stuff for like another year before I even get to the filming part and the painting part. So yeah, loads to do. I do love the names you made, Fox. They make more sense to me in a lot of cases. Is there a list of those somewhere? No, but I must sort one out for people just for fun. All I've got is a folder full of PNG files. I don't have a list of them written down. But I'll sort one out, maybe. But maybe I'll just release put the PNG files out so people can use them in their own videos. That way I can get them out there in the public consciousness, and people always know it as, you know, like they'll always know Druki Violet as Droopy for JJ, or they'll know Lamian Medium as Labia Mermaids, or they'll know that whatever that blue is Combatant's Funk, or I think Mechanicus, I think Administratum Grey is Australia Day. Some of them are just complete nonsensical. Some of them kind of riff on the name, and some of them are complete nonsensical. There's one called Nacadallegro, one called Baby Poop. I've got all kinds of silly names that I came up with. Too many to count. As Muse says, okay, poorly lit pictures in the hut of said paint and my truck bits. You were. James Lorimore says, I've been married for 10 years and 3 stepkids. We've established our relationship fairly early. I gave her a break even when she doesn't feel she needs it. She does the same for me. Do remember, by the way, folks, I'm going to read stuff out you put in chat. If there's stuff you don't want me to read out, don't put it in chat. Just keep that in mind. And Cassandra and I like to learn things on our own time and then meet up and talk about what we've learned. That's a really good idea. I think that's one of the keys to a good relationship is to have your own, to respect the fact that you've got your own interests, and because you both came from your own world. I see a lot of people that, you know, I'm not going to go there because it's probably far too much of a lit, burning conversation. But it's important to retain your own identity whilst creating a new shared identity, but not at the expense. You know, you'll become a new person when you get into a relationship, but it should not be at the expense of the old person. The old person should still be there. You know, I've had enough friends where, you know, they suddenly drop off they get into a relationship and they disappear off the radar, and you'd hardly ever hear from them. And it's like, yeah, it's not great. Because somebody is saying, I don't want you to hang out with your mates anymore, and the other's saying, okay. And that shouldn't happen. We've all done it. We've all been guilty of it a little bit. But yeah, it shouldn't happen. Lee said, never mind, keep calm and have a cup of tea. Keep calm and have a cup of tea. I'll tell you what I've discovered lately, on a complete handbrake turn to get myself out of the serious conversation, Maya. I can't drink tea anymore, but I also can't eat fruit anymore. Because, at the moment, for a while anyway, because every time I eat anything sugary like fruit, I get real bad sensitive teeth. And it's purely because the way your teeth work is there are little tiny holes that are filled with, they've got nerves in them, little tiny pores in the dentine. And when you eat something sugary, be it ideally, yeah, especially like natural things like fruits and stuff, that sugar becomes acidified in your mouth, and it can eat away at the coating of your tooth and expose the little tiny nerve, these little tiny microscopic pores. I don't mean like the nerve in you, I mean the little tiny bits. And that's why sometimes you get sensitive teeth after sweet things, because the sugar turns to acid and it eats away, and that exposes the nerve. But then if you're using, say, a toothpaste that puts, you know, if your water is fluoridated, or you've got fluoride toothpaste, or toothpaste that's designed for sensitive teeth, they replace they fill the little holes with various things like fluoride and calcium and stuff. And that's why after a day or two, your teeth stop hurting. And I've got to the point where I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm just. It's going to be a long time before I get to anywhere near a dentist. So I'm just gonna not eat fruit, sweet drink. So I can't drink tea, because if I drink tea, I need like 4 sugars in it. If I had a tea that big, I'd need like 6 sugars in it to make it palatable. Otherwise, GTFO. So yeah, no more fruit. James says, my wife understands I love giant robots and tries to cheer me on even if she doesn't quite understand what and why I'm doing it, provided it won't be a huge problem. There you go. Bill Lewis says, my wife is absolutely fine with my hobbies. She knew what she was getting into when we met 39 years ago. She's the best. Aww. Paul says to Lee, I used to collect comics and toys when I met my wife. I don't do that anymore. I got back into model building a few years ago. The wife can't complain because she likes to crochet. There you go. Bit of both. She buys yarn all the time. I'll tell you what, with Mama Fox just buying some knitting wool and stuff in the last couple of days, it's not cheap. Crochet and knitting wool, it is not a cheap hobby. Knitting and crochet, damn, it's expensive. Mortal Realms are, as the Conquest books, the same company, Hachette Partworks. Yep. Says Perry Singer. Yeah, Mortal Realms and where's this leg going now? I don't even know what I'm doing. Mortal Realms is, and Warhammer Conquest, they're both Games Workshop. I've no idea what I'm doing with this. I'm just going to jamming them together and hoping they'll fit. Games Workshop have 2 major franchises. Warhammer, they have Warhammer 40k, which is what I'm doing, which is the hardcore sci-fi stuff. And they have Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which is their fantasy stuff. And that's what's in the Mortal Realms part work. So Mortal Realms is Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Warhammer Conquest is Warhammer 40k. They're both tabletop games, and the kits you get in the part works are like a tiny selection of what is actually available out there. The idea is, from Games Workshop side, you do the part work, you get into it, you play the game, then you go and spend a fortune at Games Workshop because you want to carry on. So Mortal Realms is the Age of Sigmar. It's the Games Workshop's fantasy tabletop game. It was the successor to Games Workshop's Warhammer Fantasy. Whereas Warhammer 40k, this stuff is the hardcore sci-fi, proper weapons and stuff. Less magic, more bullets, more explosions. But yeah, both the partworks. If you're enjoying the Mortal Realms, there's a lot to enjoy. But like I say, it's really worth doing it if you can afford it, doing the premium subscription. And if I remember rightly, I've never played it, but I am told that the Age of Sigmar game is actually kind of can be a bit better than 40k, because it's a bit more streamlined, a bit more easier accessible for new beginners, for new players. I don't know, I've never played it. Never played either of them. Yeah, I mean, both of them are incredible value for money. Especially if you're not familiar with Games Workshop at all, and 40k and Age of Sigmar, they are incredible value for money. And either way, at the end of them, even if you don't play the game, you'll have some fantastic models in your cabinet. The one thing I would say though, Perry, I don't know, obviously, I don't know if you're new to Games Workshop or new to any of it. If you are new to Games Workshop and to Age of Sigmar and all that kind of stuff, if you're new to model making, then what I would say is the painting guides in the magazines are okay. They're all right. If you're an absolute beginner, you've never painted a model before, they'll look all right. But I would say, if you're able to, and if you want to do an outstanding paint job, do get going through YouTube, because there are tons of painting guides and tutorials on both 40k and Age of Sigmar on how to paint the models, but even better than they show you in the magazine. Warhammer TV is the Games Workshop channel, and they show you, first of all, they show you how to do it to a certain degree. That head's not glued in place, but I glued it in place. What is going on here with this head? This isn't twisted. You get in there. There's enough glue in there to glue something to something else. There we go. Yeah, so first port of call will be something like Warhammer TV, the YouTube channel. That's always a good one. But there's also plenty of other painters out there who've done tutorial videos at varying levels, many of whom are really super professional paint jobs. And it's not as hard as you think. So do keep in mind, the paint jobs in the magazine, they're all right. But if you're new to model making completely, you can do a lot better. Trust me, you can do a lot better. Even if you're brand new, you can do a lot better than that. This head's kind of sticking out when it shouldn't be, but I don't mind it sticking out when it shouldn't be. Everything fits together. Probably put the backpack and stuff on next, because I need to get this on. I need to make sure his head isn't in the way of something. Yeah, so if you're new to the miniature painting, do check out all the channels on YouTube. There's so much good advice out there. Not just from me. I mean, I've not got a lot of Warhammer stuff on there, but there's so much advice out there that will take you much further than the magazines do. For example, the Nighthaunt. The Nighthaunt, you can use some of the Games Workshop paints and get some good effects. But if you learn how to use glazes effectively, you can take the Nighthaunt with the colour shifting and the colour blends to the next level completely. Eon's car's got to go. Right, time to dinner. See you later. Next stream. Bye. Maybe. Thanks for coming in, Eons. Yeah, so it's worth looking into it, because there's techniques out there that will make them look vastly superior to what the magazine shows you. The magazine will assume that you don't even know how to use a paintbrush, and will give you the absolute basic how-to guides using the paints you've been given. But there's a lot more paints and products out there. Now, I could be singing to the choir. You could be a professional painter for all I know. I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not painting like the magazine says. But just in case. I'll get these 2 bits glued on, and then we'll call it a show. It's got 5 minutes. Oh, I've been doing Games Workshop since I was little. I am now 31. Well, there you go. Then you know all of this. I say I never know when it's just somebody in chat. I never know, you see. You could be an absolute beginner for all I know, but yeah, in that case, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You can probably no doubt already do better than the magazine's telling you anyway. I'm sure you can. That's why I stopped filming painting these, because I was painting these originally. I was filming the painting process, but I was following the magazine in the hope that it would eventually get to a real good quality level, so people could just watch my video instead of just following the magazine. But I'd do the same. I'd be basically saying, this is what the magazine says to do next. But after a while, I realised their paint job wasn't going to be that good, so I stopped filming that. And what I'll do is I'll get everything built, Get all the models built and ready, and then get them all painted up and film the painting process. But film them properly, not film them like the magazine. Paint them properly, beyond what the magazine says. Using lots of paints the magazine doesn't tell you about. Scale Model Muse says, I've been doing the Games Workshop stuff since it started, but the basic guides are crap even for a beginner. In the magazines, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're all right. If you're like it's like I've said before, you have to remember that part works aren't aimed at modelers. Part works are aimed at people who aren't modelers. People who are retired, younger builders. They're not aimed at... Normally, they're not aimed at people who do this for, for seriousness. The thing is with Games Workshop stuff, with Conquest and with Mortal Realms, you take in Hachette, who aim their products at non-modelers, but they're doing a product that is really aimed at the hardcore kind of tabletop gamer or modeler anyway. So their core audience for this product is already going to be familiar with how to do it. So it's they're kind of in a rock and a hard place, because they can't tailor it to people that know what they're doing, because they'll alienate everybody who doesn't. But they can't not do that, because it's weird. They're in a really weird place. Not what they normally do, but they're doing a good job of it. It's alright for most people. It'd be fine. Stephen says, bye guys and Fox, I must go now. Food is ready. Stay safe and wash your hands. Absolutely. One thing you take away from me is wash your damn hands. Look down at your hands. Now look at them now and think to yourself, I need to wash them later. As soon as this stream finishes, I need to go and wash my hands. Lesson for our day: wash your damn hands. I shall get these glued on and then we'll call it a show. So let me just get this bit cleaned up. That's that bit there. No seam lines. No. Good. We have a knitting store, says Pascal. And yeah, it's not a cheap hobby. Lewis Williamson says, I asked my wife if we could be in the minority. She said, yes, sure. So I said, third of marriage ends in divorce. The other 2/3 ends in death. I think this actual show today may have caused all kinds of problems for lots of people. I do apologise. I don't necessarily filter what you guys write. Just keep that in mind. If you put something in chat, I may well read it out. Consider that before you write things. Because when the consequences aren't happening to me, yeah, you see where I'm going with that one. I think I might have got some people in trouble today. I have to apologise profusely. My ex hated everything I did and wanted me to drop it all. I showed her the door, says bassist. Yeah, James says, I've been encouraged to dip my tootsies into new ventures and grow as a person. She's quite lovely, my wife is. Good for you, man. Good for you. Good for Mrs. James. Perry says, I loved collecting Tomb Kings and now Games Workshop do not do them anymore. Yeah, that's old school Games Workshop, that is. Was that 40k or fantasy? I can't remember. Will you remind me? Paul says this pain is making it difficult to do stuff. I can't wish it would go away. Sorry to hear that, dude, that you're still suffering. Take it easy, dude. I'm off. Catch you later, Chrissy, in Chrissy's stream possibly, says Gemma. Thanks for coming in, Gem. I shall see you later in Chrissy's stream. Yeah, take care, Paul. Take it easy, mate. If this kind of stuff helps distract you, then I'm glad. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it helps you as a little bit of a distraction. Yeah, were Tomb Kings 40k or were they fantasy? Somebody tell me. If they're fantasy, that's because fantasy doesn't exist anymore. They killed fantasy off and did it a world-ending storyline, and then started with Age of Sigmar because they realised that fantasy wasn't selling as well as it could do. And Sigmar was much better. Nim says, it makes no difference to me. I'm single, and the one friend that hated my hobby, I dropped like the British pound. Harsh. Thanks for that. British pound. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, with this life, it really is a case of life's too short. If you're doing something you enjoy and somebody else doesn't want you to do it, then they're in the wrong, ultimately. As long as you're not, this needs to go which way around, sorry? Around. I see it goes on there, like that, you'll see. Snicked. Right, okay. A little bit of extra fat glue. Tombs Kings was fantasy that are now Night Haunt, says Mordraka. Yeah, fantasy no longer exists at all. Harry. That's why they don't exist anymore. Fantasy. They kind of did like end of season storyline that killed everything. And Age of Sigmar ceased to exist. Warhammer Fantasy ceased to exist. It's now Age of Sigmar. I don't know if you can still use those old minis though. I don't play Sigmar, so I don't know. If anyone in chat can tell, can you still use the old minis? I assume you maybe can. I don't know. Brush under there. Tomb Kings of Fantasy. It says Perry. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Fantasy's long gone now. Old school, that is. I finished building the repulsor tank in sub-assembly. It's time for a break, says Osric. Yes. Go for it. Right, this needs to go on this way. Go on like this. You see it goes in here. I need to get this done now because I need to make sure my head's sticking out in a funny angle, but I need to make sure it's not going to be in the way of anything. That goes in how exactly? Boo? There we go. Ooh. Slots in rather nicely. Matron. Got a right little knobbly back, this chap. Right, so we'll get this piece glued on. The thing I do like about these Death Guard is that they've put all the joints, all the sort of seam joints where you glue things together, all the little panel gaps, if you're used to building cars, just naturally fall where like gaps and holes would be in armour. So even if you don't glue something together quite right and there's a little tiny panel gap, you can kind of get away with it because it just looks like a bit of cracked armour or where there should be a gap anyway. This head is not gluing in place at all. It does not want to stick. I don't know why. It's really weird. Yeah, it's almost like they kind of do it because the armour's often got cracks and holes and gaps in it anyway because it's supposed to be corroded and rotten and dirty. They're much more forgiving. If you're making a Space Marine and you're doing like the turbine on the back of a jetpack, you can't have a big seam line down the middle of it. You have to go and fill it in. But with these guys, that's just where the armour's cracked. That's awesome. Now I love the Death Guard, says Perry Singer. Oh yeah, Death Guard are great. I'm going to have great fun painting these up. I said right at the start when me and George decided George's going to have the Space Marines and I get the Death Guard, I was a bit disappointed at first because I thought I want the Space Marines. But now I've been building these Death Guard. They're such beautiful sculpts. I'm going to have real fun painting these. It'll take me a long time. But yeah, and they're growing on me. So now I'm happy that I've actually got the Death Guard. Right, so we finished our Chaos Cultiste. Le Cultiste du Chaos. I am desperate for a great big wee. I've got to be honest with you. It's great big wee times. I've mostly built Typhus, the plague dude. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see him. I've still got stuff to build on him, but he's kind of done. You just go over there. He's kind of done, if you can see that. He's got lots of beautiful detail. Big, gnarly backpack. Yeah, it's going to look great. Once it's primed up and painted, that'll look fantastic. So we've got them done. So a quick last look at chat. You haven't gotten Gross Models in trouble yet. No, I know. I'm not going to get him in trouble. It's for you guys to do that. And you know, some of you are trying. Mordraka says, waiting till Warhammer Old World is released to be used more of the old fantasy minis. Oh yeah, that's something they're doing, isn't it? Where you can go back to using like multiple troop formations and stuff. Might be worth Perry keeping an eye on for that. I've forgotten all about that. I don't follow the fantasy side, you see, so I don't really. Somebody in chat tell Perry what that is, if in case he doesn't know. He might know. I just dropped my crochet hook in my chair and nearly panicked. You can buy Death Guard from Games Workshop to add to your Conquest models. Oh yeah, the stuff you're getting in Conquest and in Mortal Realms is like 2% of their entire stock. I'm working on my own army at the minute. I'm building an Imperial Guard army, or an Imperial army, with what's that? Yeah, I did start my own Imperial army with, like, I've got a load of Tempest Assails to paint up. I've got loads of Cadian troops. some Space Marines, and my plan was to do a Principality of Xeon themed army, but it's kind of so flexible. I just end up buying things that look cool. I really want to get into Death Corps of Krieg, but I hated building the dudes, so I'm going to have to wrangle my around. I've got a couple of Death Corps of Krieg tanks to build, Forge World tanks. I'm so looking forward to that. Yes. But that's the beauty of these. These just start off, these are like tasters. They get you into it, and then you go and buy a billion more from Games Workshop. Or, of course, if you want to help me out, you can go to goblingaming. Well, I won't give you Goblin Gaming. The link is in the description below my video. Goblin Gaming, 20% off Games Workshop products, all Games Workshop products. And if you use that link in the description below the video, it helps me out because it's an affiliate link. I make a little tiny bit of income from it doesn't cost you any more, but you get your stuff for 20% less, and I get a little bit of income. So if you want to buy some of this from Goblin Gaming, help them out, use the stuff down there. Use the link in the description below the video. There you go. A bit of pimping from me. If you're in the UK or the EU, obviously. Right, that's 6:10. I need to go make the dinners for Mama Fox. I shall leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, folks. As always, truly appreciate it. I will do more live streams over the coming weeks, more than normal. We'll still do the regular Saturday and Sunday stuff, but I'm going to do as many as I can during the week times. I'll just carry on with these things. Purely because, like I say, I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands, but it's not going to be scheduled because I've got to work on the Millennium Falcon this week and next few weeks. So that's going to be taking up a lot of bench space. So it's as and when I can clear the bench and crack on with this, I'll do live streams throughout course week, or I might just do some video gaming streams if I can't clear the bench. We'll see how it goes. But I'll do a lot more streams so you can have your hanging out in chat with everybody fixed. Because as I said before at the start, it doesn't really matter what I'm doing here. It's almost irrelevant that I'm doing any kind of model making. Forget this as a model making stream. It's just a hanging out with your mates stream. That's all I'm doing. I want to give you a chat to hang out in as much as possible. And I want to hang out in the chat with you guys. You're my company, don't forget. I'm giving you somewhere to hang out, but you're my company while we're all isolated. So let's see how it goes. Now, don't forget, of course, 8 PM tonight. I'm finishing now. 8 PM tonight is Chris over at Gross Models. He carries on with his Warhammer Sunday, so make sure to book yourself in after dinner to go and watch his stream. I'll be in the chat there, so come and watch that. And then Monday night, of course, we do still have E-Models Monday, so E-Models live stream on E-Models YouTube channel. Me, Chris, Colin, and Ted will do our normal Monday evening live stream. And then next weekend I'll be back with Skyrim Saturday and Warhammer Sunday, and like I said, whatever streams I can pop up during the week. And if you're lucky, you may even get the first Millennium Falcon video. We'll see how it goes, because I'll be filming all week, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, take care of yourselves, folks. Remember, above all else, stay indoors. If you can avoid it, don't go out. Get the hell away from every other human being on the planet if you can. Wash your damn hands and just take it easy. Don't go bulk buying stuff. You don't need it. And just take care of yourselves. I shall press some... I mean, buttons still working. My God, they are. They're still working. Look, even Ted works.
Clap it on.
Even Ted works. My Ted button works. See, if I leave it long enough, eventually the buttons stop working and then they start working again. They kind of go round full circle. Anyway, nice to see you all today. Take care of yourselves. Welcome to all the new people that are in today as well. Welcome. Thank you for coming along, Perry and Wendy and others. Well, thank you for coming along. It's nice to see you. And of course, Models for Heroes as well. Do come along next time. But I'll take care. And I shall see you soon. I shall say, go make something awesome like these. Go be awesome. You there, be awesome. And until next time, adios, amoebas.